What's up, everybody? Welcome back to an amazing episode from Boots and Shoots Unfiltered. Today's episode 13, and we have a superstar on our show here. A guy that I kind of learned a lot. I learned a lot from when I was a first sergeant back in the 82nd Airborne Division, and just following him and seeing what he's doing within the Ranger community, within the veterans community. It is something that's it's truly amazing. He truly cares about people. He's a good human being, and we're going to let him tell a story, but it's a good one, and Ranger Hall of Fame too. So that's which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll let him tell the story. But I am super humbled and super like honored to have Tony on here because it's I haven't talked to him in a long time. It's been years. So I'll start rambling and I'm gonna turn it over to Chris. Chris, you got anything to say to Tony?
Hey, I'm excited. The idea of giving back to the veteran community, to the active military, that is extremely deep and extremely meaningful. And so I'm excited to hear your story. So without further ado, please.
Well, first of all, for those who don't know, you can go ahead and leave a comment for Jerry if you want to connect with him to write your obituary. Apparently, he's working on his second career with an introduction like that. There have been times when the words that he's used to describe me haven't been as similar. Just for the larger audience, and it probably well earned on my side, but y'all, I just appreciate what you all do for the veteran community. Like, I never thought I'd be in a spot to tell my story, and honestly, I thought that telling your own story is kind of a little bit of douchebaggery too, to be honest. And then you kind of grow up and grow out of the squad room mentality. And realize that maybe like if you do it, other people will do it, and that it's therapeutic. And so it's an uncomfortable leading by example to do it. So I'll tell it, but like start me off with a question, right? Don't just send me to the woods.
Hey,
I want a question that we just morph off of.
Go ahead, Chris.
I want to know, where are you from originally?
Great question.
Yeah.
Great.
I love that. For those of you who are familiar with college football, right behind you, you will see the Ohio State Buckeye helmet. So I was born in Marietta, Ohio. You don't like winning?
I prefer to do it legally, so I'm a Florida State fan. So.
Oh, the criminals, yes, legally. Okay,
Here we go.
I'm married and old, by the way, Chris. I saw that you went to Florida State. So, okay, first tangent of many.
Please.
So
give it to me.
My wife's best friend, she had a master's degree at Florida State, I think works in the president's office. And so my wife really wants to take my son. He's 16 years old. 16-year-old, red-blooded male. He's at boxing right now downtown. Like, good kid, good choices. Let's get set up with this visit to Florida State. President's box for a baseball game. And for those of you who don't know college baseball, Florida State is premium. Well done. And then gets this golf cart tour and has lunch in the Phi sorority house. Comes back. And of course, I've gone to Ohio State, got to go to Army, paid for me to go to graduate school at Clemson. And I was like, what do you think about Florida State? Dad, I really like Florida State. And I'm like, oh, Florida State girls in April, and you like it. Oh, how shocked am I? Like, I'm not Nostradamus, but I know where this is going all of a sudden. Like, that guy wouldn't wear a cheap Osceola. Is that right? Osceola?
Yep, cheap Osceola.
Life now, not a problem. Garnet and gold.
Yeah, baby. So I actually went to Florida State back in 95. So in between, they had just won their first national championship in 93, right? So this is the heyday time.
Oh, you beat the crap out of Ohio State when we were really good in that Sugar Bowl. Like,
oh, God, yeah. I mean, and it was one of those where I was a bartender on the only bar on campus right in the middle of Sorority Row. It's not there anymore. It's called the Sweet Shop.
Oh, location.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, primo, if your son needs a tour guide, let me know. I'll be glad to take him back down there.
That is awesome. Absolutely love it. He's a good kid, but yeah. So Ohio roots. I was blessed. So the town I grew up in, Marietta, for those who play Jeopardy, first permanent settlement of the Northwest Territory. And growing up, we had the Division III school, and they won a couple of national championships. We hosted the College World Series. So I'm a huge baseball guy. And so, we would be in middle school and we could get foul balls from Pioneer Park. And like the guys were giants. They were like 160 pounds and 5'9", right? It's like totally looking up to these kids. And so grew up there, but my kind of story begins like, I don't know my real mother. Like I know she exists. I mean, I got birthed, right? So
sure.
Probably. I mean, I'm not a scientist either, right? So anywho, and then dad remarried when I was around 8. So I think that's, never do math in public, 3rd grade.
Okay.
And so I kind of dealt with that, but like I wouldn't say lingering effects, but like I've always been a big associations guy because of that, and teams, and probably, you play psychologist looking for, that type of sense of belonging. So that all goes kind of like back to its roots. And, as I grew up, I was blessed because with my dad as a single father, he made sure that we went to church. And I could see as being a single father, looking for some help and a higher power was a very, very big thing. But it was something to do because we weren't rich by any stretch of the imagination, which is a nice way to say we were poor, which is fine. But it became like, like cookies and drink. Oh, I get to be with kids. Like it was a great opportunity. And it really shaped later kind of who I became once I understood the why, because I ended up graduating from Ohio State, and I enlisted at a time when a lot of college graduates wouldn't enlist unless they were really trying to get school paid for. And I don't think those programs were really robust back then, the way they kind of evolved, especially with the global war on terror, with we need the dudes kind of happening. And so, Ohio was great for me. Still try to take the family back. My son and I are going to a homecoming football game. We'll get a tour of Ohio State during October, which is not premium like Florida State April weather. We will,
probably better football games right now, though.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's definite. All right, we'll do another tangent. So, I'm now in a state of life where I can kind of do things when I want to. No leave paperwork and that. And so I took Luke up to. I've got a person I've kind of developed a little bit of a relationship with, former Ohio State wide receiver. He runs this leadership group, and he had Coach Day up there. And I think that he currently, winning is one thing, but how he wins is another. I think he is an upper echelon individual. Well, what I didn't know is his dad was a veteran who committed suicide.
Wow.
He was 7, 8, or 9. And so apologize for not having that exactly right. And so then to listen how, after he kind of got that hurdle of the national championship, which is kind of the expectation at Ohio State. I mean, they fire you after you win them too. But talking about the culture of Ohio State, this is before they won the national championship. Yeah. They have it on their board. The culture is fight.
Okay.
And he is trying to prepare. Let me know if you ever heard this before, Army leaders. He is trying to prepare them for when things are hard.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. The culture isn't win, because if you do it right, you're going to win most of the time.
Right.
Generally, especially with the recruits they've got, but they should win most of the time. And now when he talks about his vision, is like, well, if I don't keep on winning, I'm gone. So we're going to but that becomes, this is what we do based on everything. And it's like, it's all impacting the kids. And so he just rattled off some of the players on what they're doing now and the impact they're having. And it's like a father and joy, right? So, Jerry is a contemporary of mine, right? We serve together, but to see what he's doing with you, Chris, and that now, like, I'm just in a stage of my life that's more than any trip. That's more than any ribbon. Like, it is fun to see people who shape you continuing to do great things. And it's just been it's just been fantastic. So that's a long Ohio love story intro for sure.
Oh, that's good. So so you're coming out of Ohio State. The world is your oyster. Why enlist?
The world is not my oyster. I'm a knucklehead. So I'm in poli-sci with a 3.29 GPA. And no offense to poli-sci people at places where it's extremely difficult, if that exists for poli-sci. And by the way, Chris, as a criminal justice major, you also qualify to be an infantry officer.
Yes, yes, I do.
Infantry at large. College became something that like allowed me to have a really good time. Nothing too crazy. Could have went to jail a couple of times, never happened. But I didn't see it for the opportunity that it is, which is a blessing. And I'll talk about what I do in my job now and how we can just crush life as veterans.
Yeah.
But when I joined the Army, sidebar, I didn't know how I was going to pay for college. Didn't know how that was going to go. Put all my baskets into running, became a distance runner because I can't hit a curveball. Found out freshman year when they started cutting teams that I better find something else. Like what other masses are going to just run around in the freezing cold of Ohio? Well, that's less of a pool, so I thought. And I got pretty good, but I could never stay healthy and really put in the mileage that I needed. Like fast, but couldn't maintain it. So paying for school was always going to be a big deal. Grandparents lived in New Hampshire, Ohio to New Hampshire. Can you think of a school that we might have stopped at between Ohio to New Hampshire that would get me interested in the military? It's an upper.
I think I know of one.
And do you know that they will provide you a free college education?
I've heard that somewhere.
Yeah. So, and when I was a kid, right, there was a 60 Minutes on West Point, but this is back when no offense. It's now I would say the rigor academically has always been there. And Jerry, I know
Oh yeah.
But now you're a kid, you're a freshman. Like I have an idea to take the handball team to the Netherlands to do a tournament.
Yeah.
And the money exists. But back in the day, the discipline, when the H word wasn't allowed, wasn't encouraged, but maybe had a different connotation to it. They had that on 60 Minutes. And I'm like, well, that's hard. I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
Like I've always kind of had like, hey, if it's hard, other people. Now, here's the thing. Other people won't do it. So if I do it, I've got a better chance.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to spotlight with that. It's just like with my background and wanting to fit in, I wanted to find a way. And if it was hard, I knew that would be like, I had a better chance because some people wouldn't do hard stuff.
I mean, that resonates, right? I mean, that's what a lot of people in the military end up doing and why they end up doing it, because it's okay. I want to be part of something bigger than myself. Mm-hmm. And if it's too hard, okay, well, let me try it.
Yeah. And so I did everything I could do to get in, but what I couldn't really change was my aptitude, because I got the grades, the sports were good, but the SAT, everybody forget. Like now you spend money for your kids, you do a prep course, and you make an aptitude test, a performance test.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So I took an aptitude test as an aptitude test. And that's when the military said it'd be a good idea if you go somewhere else for college, right? So ended up going to Ohio State, but it set the bug of always wanting to be in the military. And so I would enlist in the Marine Corps, like my good friend Jerry. I knew it straight out of high school. I was kind of young when I was graduated. And my parents and my dad, who had lived through the Vietnam era, a little after the draft, who had known people in his hometown who died, just said, just please go to college first. He didn't say become an officer or enlist, but he's like, he's going to go to college, just Ohio State. There's a lot of the opposite sex there, about 28,000. He'll probably get distracted. And so much to his chagrin, last year at Ohio State, I'm like, I've got this thing called a RIP contract where I can go be a Ranger. Not knowing at the time, because I don't know if you could even download videos on the internet at that time. I had no idea what the Ranger Regiment was. None.
So when was this? What year was this? when you
So I graduated in 98, joined in 99. And so there was the internet, but like I was poor. So I did my papers on a Smith Corona word processor, and I was a poli-sci history minor guy. So if I had an 8-page paper and I had an 8 o'clock class, and because I liked my free time an awful lot, I had to be done at about 3:30 in the morning, would set the paper in the Smith Corona, do a page, and it would type, right? That was about 15 minutes. So I would go, shave, come back, put the next piece of paper, shower, come back, and all that. And then it's Ohio State. You got a 35-minute walk. There's no like, you don't park and go anywhere. It's not that type of campus. And so you plan all that kind of all that kind of stuff out. So, you know, poli-sci major, really made for the career, you know, the workforce. The military bug I had, and then I went to recruiters. I went to officer, and then I went to, and back then in ROTC, it was actually hard to get in. So like around my junior year, they're like, oh, well, we don't have a scholarship for you. They had made their numbers were lower. They were just like, they wouldn't even throw me alone. Like this is amazing to think and nowadays.
Yeah.
So by the time I graduate, I go to all the different recruiting stations. And I wanted to do the hardest thing for the shortest amount of time, because I was going to come back to Ohio, marry my sorority girlfriend, and go to law school. Like I was, the military was going to help. So I go into the military, which I think a lot of people do, right? I think especially if you don't come from a military family, it doesn't matter how good your parents are. And this is something that I try to remember as later. I went in the Army with a straight me attitude. Not screw other people, not that I'm going to become a turd, but like, I'm joining the Army. I'm going to do this in the Army. And when I get out, I will be able to do this because of what I did. Right. And that's why the Army has been so transformational, other than coming to Jesus Christ, knowing that Jesus is my Lord and Savior. Like, it's the second most important thing that any organization or group of people have ever taught me, of how we do more together. Like, you are a cog in the machine, but you're a special cog. Like, we can't do it without you unless you decide that you're not going to do it and kind of acquiesce to our culture. Yeah. And so go to basic training, beautiful Fort Benning, where I live in
Tony, just to go back, did you know much about what the Rangers were?
God damn thing, it was hard. I got a VHS tape that you can go to YouTube and look about Rangers Lead the Way, right? It was a Ranger school video. It's like a little bit, they usually run the TV ad for 30 seconds, but this was like the longer 3-minute thing. So, and I'm in my fraternity house, because that's what I actually majored in at Ohio State. I'm in my fraternity house. I'd already signed on the dotted line. I put in the video, and of course the VCR wasn't in my room because I couldn't afford a VCR. I had a hand-me-down black and white TV. So I go to my buddies that had a VCR. I put it in, and that thing starts rolling. I'd already signed up for it, and I'm just watching it. And a buddy comes in, and he's from New York. And he goes, so the brainwashing begins. You didn't sign up, did you? Then I expect to stay. Go screw yourself. Then it all worked out. But yeah, I didn't know. I just knew it was hard. I was doing it for me. 3 years, 17 weeks. Then I'll be back, and I check off my box, right? I then get law school paid for. And look at me, poor kid from rural Appalachia, going to do great in the world. And then I actually get to Fort Benning, right? I realize that it's all teamwork, right? But not quite, because there's still things I want to do. I got to go to airborne school. I've got to pass RIP, all those type of things. But being here today, and seeing the young kids, like, that's what's the blessing is. I get to try to pour into them to try to help kind of shift that mindset in a bunch of different ways. But we do basic back in 99, meet some of the best friends of my entire life there. One of my basic trainees goes all the way to 3rd Battalion with me. Matt Meese, the best man in my wedding. Heck, going to see him in a couple months down in Austin. His family's going with us to Kenya on a mission trip next year. Like,
nice.
All because, and this dude, like, talk about Texas. This guy, we walk until it's outside the gas chamber because it's like 4 or 5 weeks, and I'm kind of quiet, and I'm trying to figure things out. And so he starts talking because he finds out I went to Ohio State, and he's a UT guy. He goes to school for 3 years and a semester, and doesn't go to his last semester because he said, well, I want to succeed in the real world without a college degree. And to this day, hasn't gotten it. Runs his company. I mean, this got, like, the people you meet in the Army, like, half of them should be in jail or don't go in jail, should be in a comedy.
Yeah.
And it's the people, man. It's the people that make it so much fun. And he's the reason when we finally pass basic training, and I think we're at airborne school, now they actually do RASP 1, which replaced RIP to get into 75th Ranger Regiment. You do airborne school after. Because people like me consider, well, I've got airborne school. I can go to Fort Bragg. It's in North Carolina. It's closer.
Right.
It's closer to the great state of Ohio. Right. And I don't have to be treated like trash, because as much fun as this is to receive world-class training, it's also nice to be done with it.
Yeah.
But Matt said something to the effect of killing me. Go to RIP with him. So
Yeah.
I end up going to RIP.
How was that, Tony? Like, walking into, reporting to RIP the first day, because you just went through, but you came from college, you just went through basic, come on, guys, we know.
Actually, let's go back further. I'm curious. So we're all airborne people here.
Yes. Yes.
Have you ever jumped out of? Yes. No, there is nothing else. But, like, what was it like the first time you went off the 35-foot tower?
Dude, I'm scared of heights.
Yeah,
Chris,
that's
I'm scared of heights. When I said I enlisted to be a Ranger, I'm like, if I'm going to do this, like, I'm a big, like, sometimes I do write checks my ass can't cash, and I do realize about me, and it can be a fatal flaw, especially when you're trying to help people and you're overprom. I will make that mistake. It's in my psych profile. I don't mean to. But when I signed on the dotted line, I was like, oh, they're going to make me do it. Like, wow. I'm weird that way. And so, so what was the 35-foot tower like? What was looking at the 35 tower like?
Yeah, that's a true statement.
We don't understand. Walking up the tower, and honestly, even before that, you're going to have to, like, rename this. This is like the Boots and Wuss episode. Dude, the obstacle course at basic. Like, okay, so another tangent. So last name's Mayne, Mayne. Hear me out. This is a good one. So put your hand up. Put your hand up real quick. Put your hand up. Okay, if this was all, like, in, like, what size, whatever that's called. Okay, you put it down. This is weird now. That's good. Okay. The last name Mayne means one of two things. From the English, it means a fat dude. Literally. That's like that. A man of large stature is what they call it, but it doesn't mean important. Okay. Or a man with mangled hands. Well, I didn't like that. So there's a French version too, but that just means a man with small hands. So here I am. One, you think basic training is all these 18-year-olds and I'm older. Not that it would be easier, but I could only think, okay, I'll be expected to lead and whatnot. And you find out when you go to, basic training, a lot of people join the Army for a lot of different reasons, right?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, of course.
23, and the average age of our platoon in a summer class, right? We expect the high school graduations was 23. And I'm like, right? So I just kind of was like, okay, there's some things going on here. You start, remembering this once you become a leader, and it all comes back. So anyway, got small hands. So what's the count man your arms? Is it 16 or 17 or 15? I mean, old guard, Chris.
I know. I can do sword and saber.
We have different drills.
Whatever count it is, there is a time in which your left hand is supposed to hit the magazine release and then close the ejection port cover.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not lying. because if you get another 50 dudes smoked every time you try to do it in basic training,
because your hands can't reach it.
I can't reach it. I cannot do it simultaneously. So there would always be a lag. And when this, and like, so here I am, 23, Ohio State grad, gonna go to law school someday, just doing this Army thing for me. And I'm like worried about like the soap in the sheet at night.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
100%.
You know what I mean? Because I don't, it probably didn't happen every time, but in my mind, like if I see people doing drill and ceremony, I start sweating. Like it is the absolute, I don't know how we got on this, absolute worst. Like in the entire world. Absolute in the entire world. So basic training, go to airborne school. My friend tells me not to quit. First jump. Do you remember your first jump? Do you remember being in the plane your first jump?
I do.
Yes.
Where were you like in the not the stick, in the chalk? Let me pretend like I was actually born.
Yeah.
I went, for everybody out there, I was toward the front of the aircraft.
No.
What about you, Chris? Remember by any chance?
I was about halfway back. I can't remember the number.
I was all the way back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm scared of heights. So I'm like, well, isn't just fitting. Because I'm a big, like, if I'm going to do something, let's go first and get it over with.
Mm-hmm,
It has nothing to do with leadership. Later, it's just good that the Army kind of likes that too,
Yeah.
right? Like that was just a mix. So I'm in the back, right? And so for some reason at the end, because of jump refusals, weird things, I don't know, they readjust the seats. And because I'm in my own little world in the front, but you know, at the end of the chalk, right? And at the end, they readjust us and put us on a different door. And like at that time, that's a lot to process, right? Now, like as a jump master, you're just like, okay, whatever, tell all the guys. But for me, that was a lot. And as we start getting, and it's Fort Benning, it's hot. Like it's the summer, it's still hot. And I'm sweating through my clothes too. But like everywhere I'm supposed to sit, like sitting there, like there's puddles.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like I'm obviously not the only one who's scared. And then that first jump probably became my first of 30 consecutive night jumps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
30 consecutive night jumps because everything's dark when you close your eyes after you go out the door.
Yeah. That was it's such a false, because that drop zone there, when I first landed my first jump, I was like, it was like really soft. And it was like, is this really how it's going to be? Until I got to the 82nd, and there was like that. There's no, you just concrete.
But my third jump, I got a concussion.
Yeah.
Like I remember. Yeah. And
wow.
so I didn't say anything, but
no.
Literally. Oh yeah. Because about 5 minutes after I landed, this little female comes running up and she's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm still laying flat out. I'm like, I think so. She's like, okay. Cause I heard your head hit the ground from 20 feet away. I'm like, yeah, I felt it. Trust me. I think we're good.
I like to personally add an extra point of performance.
Yeah, 100%.
So I land. It's July 26th. It's my birthday, right? So like that day I remember because it was my birthday, and you know I hit the ground and like I'm scared of heights. I'm happy to be alive. I know there's some things I'm supposed to be doing and taking the chute off. I know I'm supposed to land a certain way, and you've trained me how to do it. And I had a female sergeant airborne, and it's not that she's female. It's just because she was female, I remembered it more because it's military training or whatnot. And I get dog cursed up and down, and I'm like, isn't this Army for you? You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
We're going to reflect and enjoy. Like, why don't we write in a notebook and remember our thoughts? Like, no, it's like, boom, get the heck out of there. But yeah, airborne school was a rush, and then so like going to RIP. So I'm in the middle of July, and airborne school actually. Here's a better story. Airborne school starts. It's over 4th of July weekend. Okay. Basic training graduation, not on a Friday then, on a Thursday. Turning blue back then, or I think it would be turning blue, right? Because you're done with everything.
Mm-hmm.
On a Wednesday, girlfriend comes down from Ohio. Her family comes too. They think it's a big deal. I'm like, this is a winner chicken dinner. This is great. Go out to eat Longhorn Steakhouse because I think that's how they survive, and that's great. And then Thursday graduation, and as a red-blooded American male, like this is going to be one of the better nights of my life, right? Right,
Yeah.
better weekends, spending time, companionship.
You've got your plans,
right?
Yes.
This is and this is before, like I said, I've evolved over.
Yeah.
Time. But I'm just to the audience can relate, right? We're in the day room. Everybody count off by fours, or kind of count off by 1s to 4, whatever, however you say it. What do you think they were doing that for on a Thursday? What do you think?
They needed the detail.
Yeah.
CQ.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
where's my cell phone right now? Trick question.
I was about to say, do you even have a cell phone in
It
there?
Yeah.
does
I didn't think you have one.
So
I think I had a pager.
I've got my girlfriend whose parents flew back. She has her car at the La Quinta Hotel by the Longhorn, and like there's enough entry people if they have made it this far. God bless. There's a prize at the end. Keep on watching, right?
Yeah.
And dude, I have no way to contact her. Like I don't like. There's no phone book for the hotel. There's no internet. She has nowhere to go. I am supposed to call her. I will call. I've never been to airborne school. I don't know where it's at. I don't have the phone number. And I am like, and my buddy Matt will change it to this day. I get the number, and it's like Thursday into Friday, and she's leaving on like Sunday or something. And I go, I'll pay. You'll always like when everyone make fun of me and just stop me dead. And he'll just go, I'll pay. Nobody wanted the money because their girlfriends were in town too. None of the 3s or 4s, all the 1s and 2s got picked. All right. So at this point, I'm kind of rethinking my whole Army decision on an epic scale because now I just want to get out. But I got to go to this river. It's 100 degrees in Fort Benning. It's 100 and a million degrees. And the humidity, you double it. Right. And I'm not complaining about it. It's just it happens to be a little warm. The week before I go to RIP, we used to have a program called ROPE for the officers, right? When they were selected, you got to really be pretty stupid at ROPE not to get selected back in the day because all the work was kind of done. Now it's more of an assessment and selection process. Way different. Right. And that's like a very just an overture. So, but a dude's doing the 5-mile run in rope and almost dies, which is bad. Yeah. We don't want to kill people. This way towards enemy, right? So, so then, the whole thing is you're at airborne school and you're supposed to carry all your bags, which is generally like a ruck and 2 duffels. I think that's about what it is, right? And of course, your BDUs, and you're going to run the 1.5 miles up the RIP. Well, almost killing somebody, right? Whether it's his fault or not, gets the attention of a lot of people. So we got buses. We got bussed up or 5-ton up. And then after that, the cadre spent a lot of time telling us how they were not allowed to continue our physical fitness routine that we had in basic training and airborne school. And so I was the last easy RIP class, right? Probably shouldn't have made it. RIP is back then was intended to be a 17-day make weak people quit.
Yeah.
Now RASP is you want to ensure you train and select the best people. I like that model a little bit more.
Right. That makes sense.
I'm just happy that I passed, and I hope that guy is doing okay.
Yeah.
All right. But he's probably the reason that I made it into Ranger Regiment, and then everybody does the order of merit list. And unless you're from Washington or California or some other part of the nation, everybody wants to go to Savannah because it's Savannah.
Yes.
Right.
And it's not a beach.
Yeah.
You're from Ohio. People spend tens of thousands of dollars every year, and they think like the North Carolina beaches are the best in the world. Yeah. No offense, but I'm just saying, right? Like it's a quick drive and you can get there, and you're about ready to live on it. So, of course, I'm stationed at 3rd Ranger Battalion, right? And,
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. But it all worked out, and I was absolutely blessed. Absolutely, like God has been watching over me, despite the futility I try to look to my life.
Hey Tony, I just like to get into the culture of Ranger Regiment. Like when you first walked in there, like what is? I mean, you probably had some seasoned dudes in there. I don't know. There's some just
I'm sure that
for the audience to understand what Ranger Regiment is and like the
Tony, I'm
standards that
sure they were
hold.
really nice. They treated you with the
Dignity
utmost
and
respect.
Well, I mean, I do have a college degree. Wouldn't you treat it a specialist?
They probably asked you what you wanted.
So I will tell you this: like going back, and we're all having fun. I love the 75th Ranger Regiment. I work with and in my mind for the 75th Ranger Regiment today, and I've found a way to do that. I feel blessed. One of the greatest professional, it wouldn't be achievement, but one of the coolest things I've seen organizationally in my life is the evolution of the 75th Ranger Regiment from being an elite light infantry force to being elite and you fill in the blank.
Right.
Like we there's an organization in Fort Bragg that most people know, kind of known as whatever the nation needs.
Yeah.
And I really feel that the Ranger Regiment, within its capabilities, can be asked to do similar things. And the growth of it has been professionalism. So I will tell you, it is an intimidating place to go into regardless. But back then, a 17-day program that was, I think, ensured you could do things physically and ensured that you could possibly withstand what you were going to go into.
Okay.
What was kind of the culture. So this is where these experiences really shaped the rest of my life and kind of like what I love to do now, what I saw in the 82nd, what I considered markers of success. So I'm told I just made it into the best organization in the entire world. All right. If you ask a range, right? At least in the Army. And that's right.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do it. And, it's a mark. You're not like your buddies. Back then, you get a black beret. Nobody else has a beret, but, the Green Berets, and that's a sibling rivalry in the first place. But if I can go back when I was at Ohio State, my freshman year, I lived in Ohio Stadium. They actually had a dorm in the stadium, a little bit of a scholarship thing, no windows on most of the rooms, communal living. So I helped pay for my freshman year of school by cleaning bathrooms 5 days a week. Right. So whatever, I'm not trying to, but like, that's what I did. It gave me most flexibility because I only had to do it between certain hours. Like I didn't care about the work because work's just work.
Yeah.
Right. But I ended up joining a fraternity when I talked about doing that, because the biggest reason, it was cheaper than living in dorms. And my parents weren't big on apartments and things like that. And so I joined without telling them. Then I told them that it was cheaper the next year when I lived there. Okay. And for the fraternity, I almost quit them a lot of times because of, pledging and hazing. And I was not overtly, I've heard some horror stories, but it's kind of like, if you do one thing wrong to somebody, you should never do anything. You know what I mean? Like, so,
right.
Okay. So we come into Ranger Regiment, and like, I don't think I experienced a ton of it compared to some other folks, but like the good old boy, it was just allowable.
Yeah.
It was just allowable. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Officers were so separated from, and when I mean officers, right? Because this also, I absolutely hate that division in the military.
Right.
I hate it. I don't know why. I don't know to this day the way it is, especially with our professional education. The idea we can't come up with something better than we currently have, I think, is the dumbest thing in the world. It's just, you would not do this in any other business in North America. I'm telling you, because tradition, right? Like, think about this. We still hand salute. And what is that? What is a hand salute? It's a sign of respect. No, it's not. It's so the other guy said, I'm not going to try to kill you.
Exactly.
Right. You know what I mean? So, anywho, I digress. So, the officers, like, who, when I mean by an officer, I mean, like, if you have a really trained, good human being, a really good human being couldn't say anything for the organization. Right. And then if an officer ever had to do anything about it because of UCMJ, well, then he's just bad, worse than everything else. And that's why this whole place sucks. Yeah. So I told folks earlier, I was talking to somebody else because this is a part of my story. 11 folks were in my squad within like a 18-month period. 3 of them received an honorable discharge, including myself.
Wow. Well,
some I don't know because they were RFS and I don't know where they ended up. But for me, that kind of counts as like, okay, you did something pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Release for standards. So it was for me, the college experience, being Hayes, said I wouldn't do it, but going through it to kind of save money. And I'm in this best organization, and they were treating me like that, you know. And you know how it is too with young kids. I'm a college boy, so I'd ask questions because I honestly wanted to know. Like, I wasn't questioning how to do it. It's like, if I get this wrong, I get jacked up. So of course I'm going to ask a question. But I did have a great leader who told me, look it up.
Yeah.
If I asked a question he didn't know, he'd say, it's in the FM. Can you not find it yourself? Years later, we become very close friends. He's like, oh yeah, I just didn't know the answer. I joined Charlie Company 375, and that has been one of the blessings of my life. And the platoon I joined, it plays a big part in my story. I'm there, and we have a lieutenant. Doesn't say much. Turns out his name's Doug Philippone. Turns out he just got inducted to the Ranger Hall of Fame this year. Turns out he ended his career at a command in Fort Bragg running the Syrian fighter task force at the outbreak of the Iraq War. Meditated after about 14 and a half years, national class cyclist, business development globally for a company called Palantir. All right, but he's my platoon leader. And he could have went to school anywhere, and he went to school at the Benning School for Boys, went to 1st Ranger Battalion, then went to West Point, right, when he decided he was going to stay in, and he's my platoon leader. And because of his background, which I think a lot of people on paper would be envious of, he said, if you want to come learn about the way money works, my dad's a financial advisor, and he'll teach you about money. Now, at this time, I had credit card debt from being a knucklehead in college, making $420 every 2 weeks with parachute pay, trying to get out of debt so my girlfriend's family would approve of me, because they had a son who's also in the Army, and they knew how much I didn't make and what bad decisions would do. And I listened. At 23-year-old, this officer did something that other people wouldn't do to share knowledge about being a grown-up. And I'm at a point, my family's at a point where we're not the Rockefellers, but being concerned about what to do on a daily basis, all from the basics of somebody caring about humans and individuals.
Right.
Right. And I'll go into that, what we do with that in the future, because it's financial stability provides the ability, right, to make a lot of decisions you want to make and not be kind of voluntold by the greenback what you are going to do. Yep. All right. So I had that experience. So that I had a great company commander. I have great company commanders, back-to-back company commanders. They're in the Ranger Hall of Fame too. And Michael Foster was amazing. And my first sergeant, Chris Hardy's in the Ranger Hall of Fame. Like, I think you've seen this, right? Because I've heard the talks. And when I came to the White Falcons, right, you saw the markings of who knew who. Like, good makes good, bad makes bad, right? Luck happens, but that's the nature of the beast. And I was absolutely blessed that, for the most part, specifically in my platoon and company, we had some absolutely fantastic people. So 9/11 rolls around. I'm at PLDC, sweating drill and ceremony more than anything else. In fact, I see a senior ranger who's like a lieutenant colonel somehow walking through the airborne school, PLDC barracks or whatever, and I do one of the only eyes left salutes in the history of the Army, because like I wanted to show respect. And he just laughed. He was great because he's like, "Oh, Ranger doesn't know what the hell they're doing with drill and ceremony."
Yeah.
Who cares, right? Apparently, everybody else cared. They got better at push-ups that day. But 9/11 happens, and we're in a class on maintenance. Get the first alert, get the second alert, and they take a little bit more time to explain what's going on. But our maintenance NCOIC, who is giving the class, said, you don't need to watch that. This is temporary. What you're learning about today, you're used for the rest of your life. And she's wrong. I mean, oil changes are definitely a part, and checking tire pressure.
Right.
I've been doing the rest of my life, so she's not correct.
Yeah.
We were on alert, but we were on alert. So I do, of course, the one thing you're trained not to do. The first break in class, we run to the payphones, call back to the CQ, because they're not going to go to show without us.
Right.
And my team leader said, if you don't get off this phone now, you won't have it. I was right there. So we were all the Rangers there. We're all worried we're going to miss the show. Get through, graduate, and that same team leader comes and gets me in his car, because not a weapon, of course, but he had my equipment. He had my helmet, my LCE, and we went out to Decker Strip. I think it's Decker Strip, right by the whatever the big one is. And then we do the rehearsal for the mission for 9/11, right?
Yeah.
For Objective Rhino, for the jump on
Right.
19 October 2001. And I will tell you that this is all back to culture, right? We trained really hard. We had a great platoon sergeant, Joe Clark. When he took over the platoon, like he just ratcheted up training. He went from our reconnaissance, at that time, reconnaissance detachment. Has lineage to a lot of great folks in BCO 175, because like produces like. And then got us ready when our 82nd import, oh no, squad leader, Richard Siri, became our platoon sergeant, one of the best leaders I've ever seen, who showed me that time is the reward that you can provide everybody as a leader. It's the
Yeah.
How did we get off on Fridays there, Jerry? Do you remember what time on the training schedule we got off almost every Friday?
Yeah. Pretty early.
I mean, in staff slides, 1300.
Yeah.
Because it was my job to figure out how to do it. Because
Yeah.
the best way to reward people with time. But I would take it away. We would take it away. You'd still be working on some slides.
I know. Yeah. Of course.
Hey, and I stayed late too, so take it easy, right? Like tell the crew. Like I was in at 5 or something. You'd probably already be in. I think I might have stayed a little bit later because you got your kids. I think had a little bit more activities, and that's that's where you should be, right? Goodness gracious. So 9/11 happens around a bunch of great people. Get another deployment to Afghanistan. During that deployment to Afghanistan, it was, really figuring out what to do with special operations. We worked for the 10th Mountain. I think they were in charge of Afghanistan, right? They were the
CJTF.
I like them, yes, and they were the combatant commander. Like their general was a combatant commander. I mean, we did a daytime air assault mission. You want to hear Rangers complain? Like if you want to, the rest of the Army would be like, we had to go on helicopters for a mission. And we're like, yeah, well, did you see Black Hawk Down? Right. So, oh my God. I mean, we're a little bougie, right? Like we don't want to admit it. We want to say we work hard. So that's why we get the quotes. During that time, as we were trying to find out the operational tempo and everything else, I read through the New Testament all the way.
Wow.
Because we had time, right? This isn't wristband era. This isn't Presence Patrol Matrix era. This is like, where are the bad guys? If somebody finds it out, you might have a mission. Until that time, CDs build up Bagram.
What rank were you at in the second deployment? Tony? What, you still a team leader this time? Or
Maybe I think corporal probably, because I would have passed. Yeah, I passed Ranger school. And gosh, I'm so horrible. I think in July.
Yeah.
I came in 99. I went to Ranger school pretty early because Joe Clark came to platoon, so we had a bunch of guys who couldn't pass.
Okay.
And so he sent the older college boy. He thought I was more mature, honestly. So I thought fitness was never an issue, right? But I think he didn't want to keep on sending people to get going to pass. And they're, 3 year, 17-week enlistment. It's like, he's going to school, then you'll be gone 4 months later. So I got to go pretty early. So yeah, that would have been 2000 and would have been, gosh, maybe it was 2001. Yeah, it would have been 2001. I'm sorry. So I would have been specialist corporal, sergeant by the second one in 2002. When I got to read the Bible all the way through, it was a transformational time. Happened to have a platoon leader who went to Clemson University. Who went to West Point, but all his family went to Clemson. That's when I was kind of thinking about maybe this officer thing, quitting my job and becoming an officer. And God put him in my way, or like in my path, which was an absolute blessing. But second deployment, not very kinetic, up in Asadabad, beautiful place. Most people have been there. Most people have the postcard. But back in the open shower days and all that kind of.
Well, I've definitely been there.
Y'all remember the first time you see an IED?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the first time we saw an IED, and we're like, me, I was like, I've always been weird about that type of stuff too. Like, I'm not a fan of IEDs, right?
Yeah.
We have these things called claymores. So the idea that somebody else might try to make one of those, and luckily when we saw that, it went off. It hit a Hilux. Nobody got hurt. Yeah. Crazy. Absolutely insane time. And then came back from that one, and you know us, we got a 3-4 month deployment. And then counts as a full deployment though. Sorry, boys. It's a volunteer force.
You know what, Tony? I'm not going to tell you that one of my deployments was 17 months, but please continue.
No, that's fine. You know what? I don't know today if that's actually a conversation I want to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
But no, I'm I trust me. I get that. I get that in spades. And the conventional time brought back reality.
Oh yeah.
On an epic scale, and a lot more humility that might have been needed too. So we go to figure out about this Iraq thing. Get a jump there, which was pretty cool. Safe-ish, right? Desert landing strip. Really to set up kind of like a tier 1 surgical place for folks who are operating the area to make sure that they were okay. Stay there for, I don't know, 6 to 8 days. It's written down somewhere. Can't remember.
Was that in Saudi Arabia, Tony?
No. We jumped in Iraq. There was
your staging area was in Saudi Arabia?
Oh, staging, yes.
Because I think I was there with you with 82nd guys. I don't know. Probably before the big jump into Baghdad was supposed to happen or something like that.
Start the planning.
I'm just saying.
Once again, I was supposed to back brief like clearing 44 buildings in order with contingencies.
Mm-hmm.
And like I couldn't, like, my brain, I'm not smart. I'm a hard worker. And they're like, somebody asked, so what are those ditches on the airfield? Oh, they're about 8 feet. Okay, so we're supposed to carry 30 days of supply, right? Because, we learned our lesson from Haditha Dam on quick missions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I remember that. I remember you guys. We were with you guys. I remember you guys were just jumping like crazy out west.
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
And they actually had a structured airfield, and so BCO Plus jumped that. You'd think I would remember the dates, and they'd be in my brain, but something like the 22nd or 24th. I can't remember of April. I think.
It was around that time frame.
It'd be March. Had to be March.
Yeah.
Because April Fool's Day was Haditha Dam. That's
Yeah.
how I remember Haditha Dam, and that was a goat rope. Well, I mean, it was executed really well, but you know, when your intelligence is like, there's a platoon, there's a company, there could be a battalion in the area. Actually, there's a brigade artillery element with maneuver forces.
Yeah.
8K away or 10K away. It's like, well, that sounds like that's a varying intel report. Yeah, so that was a blessing. So we DECO actually flew into our desert landing strip, offloaded their ground mobility vehicles, which are great, you know, non-armor vehicles because you just want to be fast, homie. And then we do what it ends up to be a 2-day drive
Yeah.
to the dam, and we happen to be the platoon that was attached to DECO. So Colonel Doyle.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Is he a lieutenant general now? I mean,
I think he's just retired.
J3, yeah.
I think he's just retired.
At CENTCOM J3, or I don't know what he's doing now.
No, he was the fourth ID. I thought he was the fourth ID commander.
Oh, sounds good. Good for him.
Yeah,
making his way up in the world.
Yep.
For a long time. But so we were under his command on Haditha Dam, our company from Charlie Company, and that was interesting. But you know, my story, I'm not good at the combat stories. I just don't have the memory.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happened, right? But we was in a near ambush and shouldn't be here today. But I am, right? So somebody decided, well, heck, that was important. And so when General Brown came, I find out later. So at that time, he's like the 2-star chief of staff, former of SOCOM, and he was the former deputy commander maybe at JSOC. And he worked with a guy named Mike Hall, who went from like my idol to my mentor to one of my best friends, which is pretty awesome. He shows up in a Black Hawk, and he's like, there's some 8 of us there. We all get a coin, and he's like, "Hey, is there anything we can do for you?" It's like, "Well, I've got this green to gold packet. You see, I kind of have this hearing loss, and I'm waiting for a waiver. It would be great if that's taken care of. I'll get back home." And I get back to the what's that, community mailroom, CMR, whatever we called it. Yeah. And I get back there. There's my acceptance screen to go to Clemson.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Right. And so didn't have to do it. Don't know if he really did it or it happened in time, but the story briefs a lot better.
Yeah.
That he was involved. And it turns out that one of my company commanders, his dad was a general officer from Clemson. His name's Sean Daniel. And Sean Daniel started an organization called Darby Warriors Support when he got out. And they've got a big hunting lodge, and they take special operators out hunting for therapeutic recreation. So like, these are the type of people that none of us are doing that stuff at that time. Actually, Sean he has that idea at that time, but this all started with culture. So I got to do all those other things with a lot of great people. And the culture shift was when we started losing Rangers.
Yeah.
You can be Billy Badass and you can qualify in the woods, right? And everybody knows qualifying, right? Do we know qualifying?
I know it.
Yeah. Hanging upside down on a tree.
See,
see who the dumbest, strongest is? Luckiest, dumbest, strongest person is? And you can do all those things. But I saw some pretty hardened, prickly, that's a nice way to say it. Prickly individuals start caring a whole lot more about training.
Right.
And what you saw, right, is that overall professionalism of the force also raised the standards for the officers who were in Ranger Regiment too. Mm-hmm. And that overall professionalism and really the need of the time for what you use soft for, just based on authorities, made the Ranger Regiment to the organization that it is today.
Yeah.
When folks, I don't want to say folks had to lose Rangers, like that's not. You don't have to lose somebody to become better, right? Not trying to say that.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't change you, you're not human, and that's called psychotic. And we're not talking like advancements and like TTPs and all that kind of stuff. Like that's expected to happen. But taking a group of guys through a 17-day weed out process, right? Like think about your high school football team. There are people who survive 2 days who are insane, right? And you might want them on to do a thing, right?
Yeah.
But people that live together that are raising other adults.
Yeah.
So I got to do a lot of great things and go to Clemson. And I talk about that and the 82nd and everything. But when I came back, if I fast forward through that time, not to forget it, but when I came back instantaneously, it was the professionalism from top to bottom, from PFC to, I mean, at that time, like I'm still a captain. Let's say captain. I don't, fraternize with like majors and lieutenant colonels and stuff, right? Ranger Regiment. I go to the 3 shop, so I very quickly start doing that. But just that level of like, we do things here the right way. Understand that we're all, at least back then, we were all male, and we're still going to have the bravado. But it's like, no, like this. There's not like, what are we going to do next? We've been doing this for a 10-year iteration.
Yeah,
really good at it, and this is how we do it. And it was as if in the late 90s, everything got brought to fruition.
Right. Yeah.
Side stuff, and then it's just been amazing. But I got to serve in the Ranger Regiment. I went to Clemson, green to gold, and that whole process, my command and my chain of responsibility, they'd rather I didn't, but they supported it. And that same team leader, who told me to go figure it out myself, he happened to be the company retention NCO. So
Tony, did you say, to go back, did you go to Best Ranger as an enlisted guy, or did you go to Best Ranger as a? Are you getting there? I might have missed it. I'm just asking.
No, you're good. No, man. I did Best Ranger in 2002.
Yeah.
So that's before. I think in. Give me a second. I'm looking at that. I only have 2 plaques in my office. Right? It's hard.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was 2002. It was 2003 that they canceled. I was trying to think which year it would have been 2001 because that would have been before. But yeah, that's just like I was physically fit, man. Like I couldn't run in college, like I said, but I mean, I was Army fast, right? And then weights, right? That fits right into my wheelhouse, right? Like, how can you get away from like the craziness of the barracks, or go to the weight room, right? And then you're a weight room guy. Then the other weight room guys like you. And I wasn't doing it for that. But like now I see it's like, oh, it was very good to be a weight room guy.
Yeah. We had Trenton Petty on here.
He's one. I just saw him down at Soft Week. He is wonderful people. And I know that it's all the same circles, and it's a beautiful thing. He's a great human being.
I don't want to kick you back too much. I just like, what are your thoughts on like when you did Best Ranger to where it's at now?
Well, first of all, this is the most unscripted interview I've ever been in my time. Yeah. So whatever.
Then we've met our intent.
You've intended.
Yes. And the hard hitting questions are coming. So just get ready,
dude. I'm old. It's for those who don't know, it's 8:00 at night. I got a 5:30 workout in the morning. Like we got some time. What was the question, Jerry?
No, I just want you, like, you did Best Ranger, and now you see where it's at now, like how Trenton and those guys are kind of putting it together. And as a Ranger yourself, like, what are your thoughts on, like, it could be it's a real quick answer, but like, what are your thoughts on how that's involved?
First of all, his and his team's mind, you don't do anything alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
His and his team's mindset of and vision for what this is, if this, just based on what the Army is and our history, if this is not the single biggest recruiting event, eventually, and they've tried to do it before, but people get in the way.
Right.
Common sense gets in the way of the lawyers too. Right. I actually heard of a JAG trying to say that Best Ranger couldn't happen because of the nonprofit or the way the businesses were integrated into the organization. And like, that's your job to help make the law, not to get to yes to make it happen. I didn't say that. Like the whole get to yes thing, we say that a lot. Like, be very careful. That's a slippery slope. But like, just look at who Rangers are, right? And if there was a Green Beret competition, That should be it, right? Like this is the thing. If it's the premier leadership school, is like the Rangers, and theoretically, right? If anybody can be a Ranger, right? With the Ranger qualified status. So now you're opening it up to everybody. Like, how is it not? So he is so on path, and I tell him whatever I can do, and I think he's put it so far past how I could help. I mean, like the Army has changed my life. I want more people to experience it. So how are they going to find out about it?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, he's done wonderful.
Yeah. Just had to ask you. Hey, so you went to, we're going back. We're unscripted. We're unfiltered here. So you left the Ranger Battalion as an enlisted guy. Were you a staff sergeant for everybody out there?
Baby staff sergeant, and kind of part of the reason. I don't know if you're aware, but the professional development timeline for an NCO would also not survive the real world.
Right.
And you try to explain it to me all you want, and I'll call you a lying pirate hooker.
I've never heard pirate hooker before. That's news.
Well, I've never.
I would give credit. I would give credit if I could remember. Like, I can't remember anything. If I could remember where I heard it. Yeah, because there's a hooker, there's a pirate hooker, right?
Yeah.
I remember I'm a Christian building, but it's still a funny joke. I don't think it's that bad. It's just not color.
And apparently a lying pirate hooker.
Yeah. So, I have no idea what the question is. I cannot even remember.
Yeah. So you were about to discuss the absolute perfect model that is the NCO professional development timeline. So
I was just, you know what, like if I'm doing well, really what the Army tells you is if you want something different, go somewhere else. Go to SF and do something different.
Yeah.
Right. Do it. Switch your job. Like it's just I do believe in experience and repetition and not I do. I'm not advocating for a business model, right? But also the way the NCO Corps has gone back and forth with its resident versus non-resident, like at least in the officer corps, it's like, hey, we believe dudes need rest. Like you want to freak out somebody in the NCO Corps, tell them they need rest. Like, that's for officers. You got to say, like, we are trying to keep the best for the longest in a profession that has a high divorce rate.
Hey, sir, that's NCO business.
It is NCO business. I thought I was in the Army too. That's what the shirt said, but I guess right, like I know it is, you know. I just so anyway, I kind of looked at it, and like also I'm younger. I said the Mimi thing. I still don't appreciate what I have. I do remember one jump though when I decided I was going to stay in the Army for longer. I had a little bit of clarity. It was a plain side issue. I bring that up because if I could bomb one place in America, it'd be Green Ramp. And I don't want to get into that, but it would be
I totally agree.
Dude, who made that shit up and still thinks it's a good idea? Anyway, so we did a plain side issue because it made sense. And I think the jump got canceled, right? And you could see the clouds and the weather. And like I already knew about who pays for what with who cancels what. Like I get all that stuff and everything. And I just started thinking like that plane had to fly from somewhere. It's got a maintenance crew. Somebody, now I'm a little bit, they had to do TDY to get here, right? The riggers had to do the thing to get the thing. Oh shit, it's not about me.
Yeah.
Right? Like I already got the people thing and I like the developing people. I was a little bit, I think I kind of got that. But like the system, and that sometimes you're just going to wait. And but how can you do it best for your people? And how do you not bitch about it all the time?
Yeah.
Too. And so like I actually kind of had that moment, right? But looking at the deployments and thinking that I wanted a quicker way to be in charge of more people, it was by becoming an officer.
Yeah.
Because there now I'm a staff sergeant. I've been through the staff sergeant MLAT training, all of our training cycle. I did all the things. I've been deployed, right? And because I made rank early, because going to Ranger school early, right? When the timeline was a little bit different, I think my promotion is 4 or 5 years away. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it. And I didn't realize everybody goes to staff eventually too. That's that youth of being in the Army. Yeah. And I didn't think that I didn't like staff either. I just knew I'm not an E7 right? And I'm 28 years old, and I can't be an E7 until I'm 32.
Yeah.
I'll be a Ranger platoon sergeant. And I'm like, I also, I'm not dating that college girlfriend anymore. I dated a girl at Ohio State before that girl who went to Clemson. I can now drive up to Clemson and go to football games. I do like sundresses. I think that is excellent apparel for a female. And I wasn't trying to take a knee, but I was like, if I'm going to be an officer, I could either go to a place where I can find Mrs. Mayne. Right? 'Cause I always wanted to be married because I kind of had that gap as a kid growing up for a little while. That having a family really meant a lot to me. Or I could go to OCS at Fort Benning. I could wear an ascot and I can beat on a drum.
Right.
And I get ridiculed by my Ranger buddies as I do it. So I was like, or I could just take this 18-month siesta, use the GI Bill, and go to Clemson. And last December, Nicole and I celebrated our 20th year of marriage.
Congrats.
Good job.
Years to the same person, which is not easy to do.
Mhm.
Period, let alone military. She's put up with a lot.
Great lady, by the way.
Dude, she's I mean,
Yeah.
She's been a children's ministry director at our church. She now teaches first grade.
Yeah.
I mean, and she puts up with my bull crap.
Yeah.
Right? Like, goodness gracious, man. Yeah, I married up. The daughter of a senior master chief in the Navy. Her father was in Jacksonville when they still had the nuclear power program there, like the school for qualifying into submarines. Like, that's where he ended his career. So just a wonderful salt of the earth family. Hit me.
Hey, Tony, for when so you graduated Clemson, you got commissioned, right? And you went to the regular army? Where'd you
I went to Baumholder, Germany.
Yeah.
Right.
How was your impression of the big army?
Because this is the first time, right, that you've been in the regular army.
Since
big army.
See, like a force comm unit. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So at that time was 2005. So all the lieutenants, when they get out of IOBC, they're all going to deployable units mostly.
Yeah.
Right, like to just the need, or you're going soon. So I went to a unit, 26 Infantry, 2nd Brigade, 1st Armored Division, that was already deployed.
Okay.
Find out that my Ranger buddy from Ranger School, Doug DeCenzo, West Point graduate, is a company commander there. Wonderful, wonderful human being. We might put a pin in that for me, please. One of you, I can't decide because
sure.
I won't remember. Yeah. So I say this with Jess, because remember, I go when they're deployed. So rear D is my first impression.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to put that in perspective. I'm happy to be in Germany. I live in a small town, Kusel later. Like, love the unit, love my experience. But you asked what my initial impressions. Can I give you my initial impressions at the age I was at and not reflective? Like,
sure. Yep.
Do these people know they're in the army?
Yeah. That's why.
So we show up to PT formation, mechanized unit, and everybody's in BDUs, and this is not a motor pool Monday, right? And I adapt to the motor pool Monday. I get it, maintenance money, big army guy. I get it. But I'm like, how? It's a PT formation. Like, if you want to get very good at PT in the Ranger Regiment, show up to enough formations and BDUs without a reason to be
there.
Yeah. Right? And everybody's in them. And there's this weight discrepancy that I really noticed right away between what is fit and what is not. And so, but I think, okay, these aren't the people to be, right? And then you have their profiles. So that was kind of like interesting. Well, so I think I leave within about a month or a month and a half to go to Kuwait because the element of our battalion got put to like a combined arms battalion. We linked up with the armor because we also have armor in the first AD there. And so and so we're the theater reserve, I think it was called. I think it was it would have been a battalion worth of theater reserve. Yeah. But while I'm there, I find out that Doug DeCenzo dies. So I'm just like, whoa. Then I hear about this thing. Have you heard of this Route Irish? Have you heard of that?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Because I hadn't heard of this Route Irish. And I'm like, these are the dudes I'm going to war with.
Right.
I will tell you, when I talk about the idea that what are we doing with the Army and the leadership and everything, what I gained by being an NCO before becoming an officer, it's not fair. Like if you looked at it like from just an evaluation, saying how you're going to be like if you're not better being prior, let's say like they should, then the officer corps, well, they're screwed too because they didn't pick the right. How we do this, it's mind numbing. It's mind numbing, and then then I have to experience the whole game, the gamesmanship, right? Of platoon sergeant. Like when I talked about Richard Syrie, one of my great platoon sergeants with Joe Clark, but Richard Syrie, well, Joe Clark would do it too. Like we had to do the basics. Like they believed in counseling, if you remember, Jerry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's not. It keeps all the problems from happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because if something bad's going on, you're either going to tell me, you're going to lie to me.
Right.
And I'm going to be able to trace it back to somewhere. And it's not to catch me, screw me. It's because I'm going to show you I care. And you're going to show your true character. And you'll get one.
Mm-hmm.
One. First thing I do, because I was told, because I learned to do this. I'm not smart. This happened with every leader I had in Ranger Regiment. The leader came, squad leader, or up to platoon sergeant, first sergeant. What's the first thing they requested? Do you remember? Mm-hmm. What do you think? What do you think? Put you on the podcast. Now you're on my podcast.
I'm going to say counseling packet.
Counseling packet.
That's what it is.
All you can learn. All you can learn about people, counseling packets. Yeah. Like, no, it's not all you can learn. But man, you get a culture, right? You can understand if your platoon sergeant can or cannot produce them.
Yep.
If he says, I'll have to get them for you, or here they are, or my guys are currently in this phase of it, so I'll have to, because it's a basic thing you're taught to do in the Army. Yeah. And you go to the Army schools and they tell you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like but I have my way of doing it. Yeah, it's the Army way, and then you make it better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right? Like we were blessed in Ranger Regiment. We had computers at platoon level. I realized I could just type the same 15 things I want to talk about. And then when I talked to the guys, handwrite it in. And then everybody thought I was amazing. And I was like, oh, yeah, but here's my template. You go use it too if you think it's good.
Yeah. I learned a lot when we were my company commander, sir, about that. I still carried a lot of that counseling packets to our battalion.
You didn't learn anything from me, man.
Yeah.
I just transferred what I learned from good people. And that's the power. And really that's Abrams' charter. That's the mission of the Ranger Regiment.
Yeah.
And I honestly would try every day. I never overtly think I wake up and say the Ranger Creed. Like I would try every day to kind of uphold. Like I knew that if I do something stupid, that right scroll, like I was scared to death somebody in Ranger Regiment was going to find out I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Right. Unfortunately, this is my psychological profile. I'm a little bit of a fear-based guy. Anyway, and I'm in Kuwait, guys. This is a mechanized battalion, and you know what they do in Kuwait with vehicles? They got to sign them down to somebody, right?
Yeah.
43 vehicles. 2 sets of Bradley fighting vehicles. Right. So I don't know. You remember how many platoons supposed to have? 4. I had 8 of those. And I'm supposed to account for all that BII that keeps on getting transferred with the theater reserve. And I'm like, well, how about I don't lie and be the guy who gets caught having to pay for it?
Yeah.
And then I learned it's worth being the cog in the wheel with property, which later in the 82nd would serve me extremely well. When I took command in Haiti, came back. Remember the Connex yard that they had on the other side? There's like that radio hill, or there's like that comms thing, and there was, I don't know. Anything. Yeah. And I come back and I'm like, to inventory the Connex, and they're all wide open in this Connex yard. And I'm like,
Wow.
My brain, I cannot fathom what's happening here. And Rangers back in that day, before what we currently are, we'd buy our way into systems, right? But back then, like, we would just have to do the right things. Like, I was the motor pool guy for the platoon as an E5. So I had PMCS. So I knew all the stuff. Like, I knew that you take care of property. Like, it was a thing. It was a thing. Anyway, so 80 but we got to do some great training in live fires in Kuwait. Like, you got a decent amount of ammo. There's a decent amount of training in Kuwait, and Army basics. Like, who's it my job to train? 2 levels down, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, I ate that crap up. I was them, right? So having the patience to observe, right? Never saying this is how we did it in the Ranger Regiment. I'd want them to ask, right? Like, I at least I remember that, like, delusions of grandeur. But
Yeah.
being able to have fun. I think it's fun conversations about, oh, why do you wear your kit that way? Right? Do we have that SOP? Or you chose to do that? Why? What's been your experience? Like, that was super cool. You're around people who've been to multiple units, right? Most of your squad leaders by that time have been, although in Germany, sometimes they'll keep you some longer with family and stuff, married a German gal. But that was kind of cool, neat to see. My platoon sergeant had been in the old guard. And I guess you do so much of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, you actually get the guard.
Mm-hmm. You do.
Yeah, well, if you're part of the honor guard, and then part of that is a platoon of the Tomb, yes.
Yeah, and he was one of them. And I found a picture from when I went to DC, and we looked at it, we think that it was him from when I was in Ohio State before. Anyway, absolutely crazy. So really solid platoon sergeant. What was weird tactically in the Ranger Regiment, what do you know what the platoon leader does?
This is on the radio.
What's different? It controls airspace.
Yeah, that's about it.
Clicks,
Controller. Yeah.
Control assets, and does whatever the platoon sergeant asks.
Yeah.
Or I'm calling it ask. And where's the platoon sergeant?
With the soldiers.
Forward.
Yeah, and usually, like, that, whether he's with the CCP or not might depend on where your fire element is, and he might make that weapon squad leader. Might make him in charge, because, like, dude, the platoon sergeant in a Ranger Regiment is the coolest thing. Oh my god. Well, being a E4 team leader with E4 assault gunner with no responsibility, the tab, that's actually really cool. That's awesome. Yeah. So we got it. That was fun. That was fun. By the time that deployment, gosh, that was a crazy. I got to make sure I got my deployments right. Yep. So we end up going out to Ramadi for that one. Like, when I listen to other people just talk about their stuff and remember names, I'm like, how in the hell do people do that?
Yeah.
But we were out in Ramadi. By the end of that deployment, my team leaders were pitching the op orders to the company commander.
Wow.
Because I told them, they've already did it to me. I already validated it, because I'm trying to make future squad leaders platoon sergeants, right?
Yeah.
We're talking Ranger school op orders. Because once you get the format, it's not hard. So you did, and what are you going to do at a COP?
Yeah.
You're going to pull security.
Just learn.
Mission, you're going to mission prep, and you're going to try to keep the guys from killing each other.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, making people have to write, infantrymen, generally, we don't like to do that so much.
Nope.
That was the coolest, I tell you. And then being able to re-enlist people. And granted, I get the tax free, right? I get that.
Yeah.
But that was like, that, Jerry, to me, that became a marker. Like, re-enlistment of people.
Yep.
Because as a guy who kind of left and quit working to become an officer, and didn't hack it out, for people to want to do that, and that not too many people re-enlist. You have crappy leaders. Like, some people do, right? Like, enough people do. But that became a marker. And I don't know if you remember, Jerry, but our companies, when we were there in the 82nd Airborne Division, led the division in re-enlistment rate.
We did. I took that all the way to the polar bears, man. That was something that was big to me. And
Same
it's
here.
not about like, hey man, like you're gonna go in these command and staffs and like what do your retention numbers look like, everything like that. It was more than that. Like
Sure.
like you said, Tony, man, it's the buy-in for guys that want to stay within your organization.
It's a sign of a good unit.
Sign
quite
up a good
frankly.
unit, and we took that shit serious, man. It really did. So
But we didn't talk about reenlistment. It goes back to we started talking about life, and if somebody was out and teach, I'm sure you taught your platoon sergeants. I just can't remember if we had the conversation, but I spent a lot of time with the platoon leaders talking about like ensuring with their that there's free time, there's life skill stuff. And so I had to teach my platoon leaders, if I needed to teach them, and I had some great ones, about finances. Because if you don't know about it, you can't teach it, you can't check it, right? And you don't know if you're like, yeah, I gave a class. Okay, you gave a class. Like stability with your finances allows you to make choices. One of those choices is to stay in the military. One of those choices is to stay in the military because you made bad decisions. Guess what people I want in the military for longer? Yeah. I want more people who want to be there, who are making who have you met who makes really good decisions off work that generally doesn't make good decisions on work? Like they might be at work, they might be average, but that's finances is a discipline skill. Yeah. It's depriving now for later. That's all we do as leaders, right? And we get to, just like working out, that pain of depriving, we like it, right?
Yeah.
It's not. So
Tony, I mean, you developed some really good platoon leaders. All those guys that in that company went on to do some really, really cool things. Even the XO.
Way it works, man. It's you. We had some great consistency of really good NCOs too. An NCO should always match. An officer is a flash in the pan, right? And if you impact the platoon leaders, they also go off somewhere. A couple. So it's really working together. And I saw working together in Charlie Company 375 with we were a little bit different. Like maybe I just wanted to see it. But I just saw what right looked like, and I tried to emulate good people. I never really tried to be my own person. Today, I do everything not like as a I'm a good sinner. That's why I know I need Christ, right? So I'm trying to emulate somebody. Yeah. And then what's left is who Tony Mayne is and how it works. But I'm always trying to emulate somebody. But not in a bad way, like their characteristics. I'll do it my own way. Sure. But dude, I will tell you that time in the White Falcons. Now let's talk about the 82nd for a little bit for all us airborne lovers, right?
Real quick before you get to the 82nd, you did say you wanted me to put a pin in Doug DeCenzo. Did you want to say anything else on that?
Was it that he actually eventually ended up, I never see him again.
Yeah.
And Doug, final phase of Ranger School, final graded patrol, I need to go. I walk us into a thicket. But I'm a strong Ranger. We're going to get through that thicket. We never got through the thicket. They did a leadership change. It just so happened my assistant patrol leader, the RI, was his former platoon sergeant.
Yeah.
Doug, who was awesome, should have got to go, but he was a West Pointer. Of course, those things don't matter.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So after repeating that phase, he graduated. But I always had this thing. Oh, maybe I'll serve under him. But I got assigned to a great company commander, Don Sapp, right? Audie Murphy, 82nd guy, boots and shoots all the time. Loved it. And then found out that Doug died while we were deployed. That was good.
You want to talk about the 82nd?
82nd.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those guys, right? Who's always looking for something new. So when I come out of Germany, guess what I have a packet in for? If you had to guess. No. You don't take a packet. You need to know somebody. You need to know somebody. So I thought I was going to go to SFAS, right? But I'm in Germany. Mom comes over. Take her to Switzerland. Pretty awesome. MWR trip. Maybe Sunday I realized I got a tick bite. No big deal. Click that guy off. Get ready to go to the career course. I'm going to go to sign in career course, go to SFAS, then come back. I had like a month. And so I had 3 weeks I was going to go, come back. Say, hey, I can't go, man. There's something wrong. I end up with Lyme disease. It takes about 3.5 weeks to get diagnosed. So it happens as I'm going through the career course. Changes my SFAS date. They give me a call. They're like, you know what? Your hearing profile that you got the waiver for, we don't accept that anymore. So I'm talking to the doc at SWIC, and he's very excited to be talking to somebody who's questioning his authority in a career course. And he goes, well, Captain Mayne, it's because if someone's right behind you, you can't hear them. And we think that's a problem. And this is really the end of the conversation. So call the branch manager, and he gives me, I get to either go to Geronimo, Korea, or the 82nd. And I said, I'm about ready to have a son in a few days. I'll name him after you. That was a lie, by the way. But that's so I ended up going to the 82nd, have my first kid. And I will tell you the leadership lesson, having kids and being in the military is a thing.
Yeah.
No, not just for me, but like for what I learned about women and how births affect everybody else different. And you see your soldiers with their wives, and when they look happy and they're all like, man, woo. I did not sleep for the 28 months of command in the 87.
Yeah.
I was blessed to 2 commands and in command most of the time, with Jerry most of the time. But I swear, like, if I ever, well, I guess I could be an a-hole anyway. But like for the most part, like the sleep depravity of having a kid.
Yeah.
But I think that also made me a better leader, like caring about the relationships guys were in, making sure you're with the right person, everything else. Like, man, you already had, your boys were, gosh, maybe like 8 and 6 at that time.
Yeah, they're about that time. Yeah, they're about 8 and 6.
Maybe a little bit older, like you're a little bit wiser.
Yeah.
You and your wife had figured out. We had not.
I don't know if we figured it out, but we're still working through all that. But, yeah.
Christine had it on lockdown.
We still haven't figured it out. So
yeah, fair. But it's a lot easier when they're gone. Apparently.
Yeah.
So that time in the 82nd, what I loved is the tradition. What I hated was tradition.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing with religion, right? It's like, I'm a Christian. What's my religion? Like, I guess it's Christianity, but it becomes a tradition. So, you go to church on Sunday. It's like, well, I worship the Lord, and that makes me a Christian. Not I go to church on Sunday, right? And the hard thing with the 82nd is you could stay there forever.
Yeah.
And I found it interesting. I found it interesting. But the guys, your kids are gung ho, right? And they were absolutely fantastic because those guys just want to kill stuff, and those are my boys. Like I absolutely loved the way it worked. I didn't like a unit that put out division op orders at 16:30 and expected immediate responses.
No. No.
Yeah, and so between Jerry and I don't know if you remember this, Jerry, but like I remember having talk with my wife. I mean, our marriage, it was extremely difficult. I said, like, honey, it's this simple, right? Because what we did, Chris, is we communicated that like we're gonna suffer, right? Because if saying that somebody needs to be there at somewhere, right, for like a jump support at 6:30 in the morning, but I've got to keep them there to figure out the logs until 2000 or I mean, maybe that's like 1900. I'm like, what we got to do is know that everybody turns their phone and wakes up at a certain time to get their assignment so they can make the drive in for the 06.
Yeah.
Right. And so once we figured that out, that meant that we were the guys on the hook, right? Because you can only do back then. Probably maybe I just didn't know it well enough. You can only do so much for a BlackBerry. You had to be by your laptop to get all the tasks done.
Yeah. I hated calling guys after work too, man.
But if you did, I want to call them versus keep you there. Like closeout formation. I never saw one in Ranger Regiment unless it was leave.
Yeah.
got too many
Yeah.
meals in the weekend before or something, right? And I hate to
Yeah.
say that is like a negative, but it's also kind of true, right? So like, I don't understand what a closeout formation is. I have a platoon sergeant who's probably been in the Army minimum 7 years, maximum 15-ish. And I can't trust them to tell people to go home after having squad leader layers and team leader layers of people to do the right thing. If I can't trust that person now to let somebody go home and to check their phone, that's fine. But what I can't stop is brigade getting their cut.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And battalion getting their cut to the end user.
Yeah.
But I can make sure
Yeah.
they can all be up at 5 instead of 5:30 to see if they have something and know that they will be held accountable because that's our standard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I appreciate Jerry so much. And I'm not trying to, make this a love fest, but if anybody's listening who's still serving or whatnot, like there are ways inside of the institutional bullcrap. If you think truly inside the box, because it's a 24-hour box, to do things a little bit different. We tried, I don't know if you remember this, I might have just did this without asking you, Jerry. I hate CQ. It's the dumbest thing in the history of the world. Dumbest. I like the idea of making sure guys are okay in the barracks. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
Do they really need to be there like during like it's I get where you're going with this.
the Air Force doesn't do it, right? And at least and I understand it's a little bit different when you got, okay, and I'll go back, now offices, we always had the offices with the barracks on top, right? So that I understand every building where troops, there should be some type of presence, right? But once again, get me all your smart guys in the brigade and tell me that's your best play.
Yeah.
I'm going to run a DA6 that isn't based on common sense because it has to be shared equally. And this is not an equal world. That's made up. It's the dumbest thing ever. So, Chris, I did something radical until I think Jack Love found out.
You probably got us.
Well, I mean, between like if you got an infantry company, right? Depending on where you're at and your ebbs and flows of deployments and stuff, you get more guys. So like, we're just going to do 8-hour shifts. We're going to figure out like their home life situation, right? So I had guys who were, what they did on the night shift? College. They used tuition assistance and did college.
Yeah, I remember that.
We had it all, but the problem was that's not how we do it here.
Yeah.
And I always looked at the regulation of more. It said I couldn't do it. Like I said, I know where our orders following, but like, it's the whole thing. If we do it better, maybe other people will kind of figure this out for their people too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what really got me in trouble with General McAteer, who I met later as a general, like I thought he was a good human being. Like great thing. I had a no cell phone policy because once everybody had cell phones, what I got is I need the cell phone for my FM.
Yeah.
Up all the
Yeah.
FM. And I was losing my shit. Like we're in the 82nd, and I'm like, now I'm a company commander. I'm all hula army because whatever. This is ours, Jerry. Blah blah blah. But I'm like, we got great gyms everywhere. I let my guys go to the gyms during the middle of the day. I would get phone calls saying like, are you supposed to have a whole platoon here? I was like, yeah. Oh, everybody's there. That's great. I don't know. Like I'm trusting an E7 if we don't have a range that day or other prep.
Yeah.
But people would be on their phones.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
I still don't get that, Tony, either. Like, I don't know why the gyms are so like in the mornings too. It's like stay out of the gyms. Don't go to the gym. Like it's
the
idea that if you don't practice it, the guys won't be proficient, right?
Right. Agreed.
And their army skills and the army. Yeah. But I if it's a usage thing, well, that makes sense too. But like I would be like, okay, well, let's break this stuff up. And sometimes it's not going to be fair. You'll miss your battalion gym day broken up by companies because you're like in the field, and it's not fair. Well, take the DA6 fair mindset out of it. Look at a 365, day year. And once again, will guys like it, and will they be more physically fit? Is that good for it? Like I'm a retention focused thing. Yeah. Like I'm not trying to make Joe happy. I'm trying to make her bigger, stronger, or faster, which isn't always bigger, and want to crush human beings. I'm a warrior culture guy. I found out about this guy who was offering free jujitsu, and he would start like 5 or 6 in the morning. I forget what it was, and I offered it up to the company. I didn't have a lot of takers, But like I went a couple of times and guys absolutely beat my butt, which they enjoyed. But I was there because we could.
Yeah.
Because I can approve that, right? Like I'm trained by the Army and I've been in the Army 10 years. I could probably make a decent decision within regulations. So much fun. Like
we were pretty ruthless against the other companies too, Tony. Like we wanted to make sure that we were beating them. We like that culture of, just better at everything we do. Not, everything that the company does, right? I think we won.
And then we
won Jump Master of the Year. We won Jumping the Master of the Year a couple times. We just
NCO Soldier of the Year boards. Once again, why do we need to do that? That's basic. That's old Army stuff. Because you're preparing your best people. And so, have you been in places where they're kind of like, well, send him because they'll do it. Like, he doesn't we get a guy to win that. That's a discriminator on his NCOER. Like, we're trying to get our best. Our best people had to go to that thing. Yeah. Right. And that became the expectation. If I get promoted, I'm going to have the chance to do this. Right. We're not smart, Jerry. Like, it's just what you do. Everything else is a shortcut. The Army's, for the most part, is pretty damn smart. And if you put taking care of people and readiness and resiliency up there, as long as some people don't get scared above you, you can generally do it.
I tell you though, Tony, not to make it a love fest like you said, but you were perfect. You were a perfect fit for me. I was still learning a little bit, going into the 82nd Airborne Division, being a first sergeant. I had my issues and stuff that I wasn't perfect with, but it was a perfect fit. And I know, not to just stay on the 82nd too long, but Tony stayed with me, I think, all the way to the Iraq, or the closeout of Iraq in 2010, I think. And then we did your change of responsibility, and then you went to HSC, and then I followed you over to HSC. Mm-hmm. So we worked together most of our first sergeant company commander time, which was awesome. So
once again, to make sure we don't stay in any type of logical order. Cobb Cahill, Salman Pak, Iraq, 2008 or 9. Gosh, I'm so bored. Don't know. I love my battalion commander. Love the guy. Michael Shroud is his name. We come out of the chow hall. He never used to the chow hall. Horrible diet, doesn't sleep, health issues because he won't take care of himself. Hope he's taking care of himself better now. Beautiful family in Annapolis, Maryland. Now retired, full bird, great human being. And because I'm a Ranger Regiment guy, and because I kind of work hard, I'm the AS3, right? I wasn't the best guy. We had another guy named Perfecto Sanchez. Perfecto, if you ever hear this or somebody knows Perfecto Sanchez, give him a shout out. Way better than me. But I was going to stay in the Army. He was going to get out. Anywho, so I'm the AS3, crushing it. So I think probably doing a horrible job. And he's like, Tony, what do you think about being the DECO commander? And my mind is, holy shit. He's creating a maneuver company for me. Does anybody else know what the DECO commander is?
I assume a heavy weapons.
It's really good. So the SOFA agreement in Iraq gets signed. We're not going to go outside of the wire. Like, where we are at is extremely, extremely, extremely quiet. Extremely. I know we close Iraq, have casualties, absolutely horrible. But I mean, at this point, this phase, nothing. I mean, crickets. So 8 months into what ends up being a 15-month deployment for everybody else, I go back and switch out with another captain. And Michael Shroud, I think, lies to me, telling me about how important it is. Like, I am trying to take care of your development. Mm-hmm. You have to trust me. And when you go back and you figure out the problem with opiates in the United States Army from mass prescriptions, right? When you figure out how to do UCMJ before being a company commander, when you figure out the time, giving guys time off to reward, and you get a practice run, I thank him every day. And anything that I did well is because I got the opportunity, and I didn't try to. And once again, who were the good company commanders? What did they did? I just did things they did, and it was my signature block.
Yeah.
right? But that's Jerry. That's where it all came from. So I didn't have to check on Jerry, but I would ask things, and he could always ask me too, of course. But like, and I didn't feel It was never like a confrontational checking up on, right? And it was never, oh, but you could do it better, right? Yeah. It's how can we synchronize and take the load off if we need to? I think we were asked to do a whole. I think the 82nd acts a ton of its leaders. I mean, if you do it right, everybody asks a ton of a leader.
Yeah, I tell you, Tony, when I look back on it, like the administrative 350-1 class stuff and that we had was insane. It was insane for all that stuff that we had to do, right? But you know, growing up to be a command sergeant major in the new Army or the Army and under, you know, Chris and seeing what the first sergeants have to do in regards to that. Now I'm like, holy, because everything's digital. It's like, it's way worse than, you know, what I had to do as a first sergeant. And Chris can kind of see that. I was like, dude, these guys got so much admin stuff that try to take them away from the training and all that kind of shit, man. But I just had to bring that up. It's a lot more work now it sounds super weird to say, but as a first sergeant today, it's a lot, man. So if they can cut a little bit of that back.
We're mission commanding admin now.
Yeah.
And you talk to people about, people being on the mic trying to figure out your status all the time. Now we're doing that same thing.
It's all digital too, because I think we had just Med Pros, barracks manager, and some other stuff.
If it's digital, it's faster and better.
Yeah.
Says who?
Yeah.
My whole thing is like anytime something new is introduced, not necessarily a new system, you can learn a new system, but like a new requirement. Okay, that's fine. What was taken away?
Yeah.
But maybe they just say, don't let your people off at 1300. So the reason I let people off at 1300 is that I was in charge of a bunch of, at that time, right, only red-blooded males, right? And if it's a 3-day or 4-day, it's always 1300 because when I had to look at their trips, I actually did, and I expected none of them to follow it. Because I'm not an idiot. Yeah. I'm an idiot, but not for that. That was common sense. That wasn't too hard to figure out. I wanted them driving during the daytime. And I told them, if you get a wreck past the time at night, we would talk about, I said, I don't want you to smoke. I'd rather you not dip. But if you do, that would be a good time on your drive at night. Keep your windows open because statistically there's like car wrecks at night. Like those are the things that like I would geek out on to show, not to show my care for us, but just like that shows that you care. But I said, if you don't have dip, smokes, or gum, and I really stress the gum part, and you get in a traffic accident, then you'll get in trouble with me. Like I'll take you down on not following the rules because you're not doing the smart thing that I'm telling you to do. Because I'm a guy who didn't follow my trips. Hopefully now my retirement doesn't get taken away. But if I got to go to Fort Benning, Georgia to Columbus, Ohio, could I do it in 9.5 hours?
Yeah.
And by the way, one time, and I probably shouldn't have. But yes, you can get there. Got to go through Atlanta at night, no traffic. A whole different story.
Yeah.
But the hard thing for me, if any of our old guys watch this, like it was going to Ranger Regiment, it was that kind of thing. Like I was in Ranger Regiment and then I'm going. And, the 82nd loves the 82nd.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, I don't say like you're a traitor per se, but I do personally, like I'm going to admit it, I personally worried what people thought about like them going to Ranger Regiment and something, oh, you think you're better. And it's like, it's just different.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, and I got to go work somewhere next. And I've kind of showed I like to be in charge of my career. Versus being told where to go. Like I was blessed, man. I got to make it into Ranger Regiment enlisted. I wanted Europe, and I got, I tried to 173rd, but got Germany because it was deploying, right? The unit was deployed. And so I got that. I was able to get the 82nd after the SFAS thing. Can't believe I admitted to that and said it out loud, but I did. And then, I got back into Ranger Regiment. And then when I'm Ranger Regiment, what kind of led to everything I'm doing now, first of all, I get back into Ranger Regiment and I'm gone for 10 years. I don't get back into Ranger Regiment, I don't think, unless I would have served there. We had an anomaly on our RASP 2 board where there were only 4 voting members. There's supposed to be 5. and I was a 2-2 select. And I don't know if there's been another one, and I'm on a very short list. So I only probably passed RIP because somebody got a stroke. I probably only got back in because they needed a dude. But I was a 2-2 select. And I remember driving back to Fort Bragg and being like, I don't know if I want to be here. I suck. Then I got to Ranger Regiment. And like when I talk about like the difference of the time I saw the professionalism, I got back to Ranger Regiment and it put me in my place quick. Yeah. Right. The other captains had been in Ranger Regiment doing that mission, new vernacular, everything, hundreds and hundreds of missions. You know, back then, like wristbands coming in the black helicopter, 3 or 4 a night, go back, do it again, kill university going on. Like it was a thing. And I was just not as good. I couldn't pick up. I was a little bit older, which should help. I'm not making excuses. It's just I wasn't as good. And like my peers are now all former Ranger Regiment battalion commanders and the RCOs, and like it was humbling. But during that time, because I had the 2 company commands in the 82nd, right, I ended up getting promoted early. Right. And so I ended up getting selected for the first of its kind fellowship that was going to happen in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Pretty big deal. Wife knows that I know it, but I know that I kind of suck a little bit compared to my peers. Like I know where I really am as an air officer at Ranger Regiment. Not saying it's not an important position, but you know, I didn't get selected to like get to a battalion and do a company, right? Like I tried really hard, but like now I'm like the aptitude performance thing, my aptitude compared to those guys. So humbling, but good. And then I'm finally going to get a deployment that I'm going to go be the chops overseas. So at least I get something, right? And I already got a shoulder scroll and everything, but I need it for like my pride.
Yep.
Right.
And I go take a hearing test, all my SRP type things, get ready to go. And this is at the time when I've always had a horrible hearing. We kind of talked about that with getting the Green and Gold Scholarship. And then my pools. Pools is your hearing is now linked all electronically.
Yeah.
They did that all about the same time I take this hearing test in 2013, the end of 2013. I leave the hearing clinic at the old Splinter Village, which no longer exists at Fort Benning. It's been torn down and moved, with a piece of paper for my HHC company commander saying that I'm going through a med board. So I got to go tell the Ranger Regiment S3, which I work with every day, but it's not intimidating. I just feel like a waste of flesh saying that I can't deploy in 17 days. And I already know that I'm not as good as everybody else around here.
Yeah.
Another shot of humility. Found unfit, get some people involved, able to serve. There's 2 positions in Ranger Regiment open for a broke guy, electronic warfare officer or PAO. When you go through a med board, back then we were part of that first cycle where they, you know, before you had to do all your Army stuff. Then you did stuff. That's the way I had guys lingering around for 18 to 24 months. Well, it was all together. So I thought like they were trying to get me out fast and in a hurry. And I went through all the TAPS classes, all those things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if I'm freaked out about getting out and I've got a master's degree, right? I got a wife who's got a master's degree. I've saved my money and I'm freaked. What about the E4?
Yeah, agreed.
And so I starting the PAO shop, and we start developing this program called Ranger for Life. What would it look like if Ranger Regiment, right? And this is the holistic college thing, hazing thing coming together. When I was not in Ranger Regiment, and there's now the internet, you know, I'm looking at all the things and all these soft charities, Special Operations Warrior Fund, all these people trying to help, all these different organizations. And when I come back to, I already know about them as the air officer. And then I know that I can use the CARE Coalition to help with this transition fellowship. I start finding about all these other things out there, and the guys know nothing about it. Right. So I go to Ohio State and Clemson, and you realize when you go through big universities like that, and like the sports and everything else, like they try to get you as a kid.
Right.
I was a Buckeye before I was born. Right.
Yep.
So, but who's the most important part of that university system? It's the adults,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's the alumni. The buildings aren't named after a freshman. They're named after an alumni who's probably given a ton of money for it, right? So you start looking at that cycle, right? And when I left Ranger Regiment, it was kind of like you're leaving by. I was actually told by one person who is a very good friend now, because that's what time does. You're never coming back here. He didn't say it to be mean, but like, you don't want to go through this again. You're never coming back.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a life cycle model. That's not a recruiting model.
Yeah.
Right? And so if our most powerful asset in the Department of Defense or in the VA is our alumni, how do we keep them involved?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? So that was this genesis of Ranger for Life. And we've got to start way left of the boom with the new guys. But I knew that this transition thing was a gap. So I briefed this Ranger for Life program to all the Ops Sergeant Majors, because they were all C Code 375 guys. They're all going to be Battalion Sergeant Majors. And I can say this isn't my idea. It comes from the NCOs. We just thought of this together.
Yeah.
It gets up to the RSM and he's like, I like it, but like you're kind of a unicorn. Who's going to do it when you leave? And I say that's fair. And so that gets me starting to think the regiment doesn't have to run this. Like, this is for the alumni to run.
Yeah.
Right? If we do a good job, if we can help guys in transition, great. But I leave Ranger Regiment, go to SOCOM, get deployed. And so I start this transition thing as a neophyte. I know more than the TAPS counselors, I believe, right? I know the resources to use. I know the money, the sequencing, all those type of things. So I start helping and probably do a disservice to those guys compared to what we do now. But we write that program, and when a former squad leader mate of mine in Charlie Company 375 becomes RSM, he asked Mike Hall, who I said is now, my idol, best mentor, now best friend. He becomes honorary sergeant major, and he runs with the program.
Right.
He's a board member of GallantFew, and he's the director of Three Rangers Foundation. I am now the director of GallantFew, and I work for Mike Hall with Three Rangers Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And every ranger has access to a unit-specific transition program where the entire secret sauce is a mentor network. So if I have a young man who says he wants to be an electrician and he wants to go to Buffalo, New York, we can connect him with CSP programs, which you can find yourself, but we can connect him with CSP programs or employers, and then real estate agents and all these things as he's getting tailored support through Wounded Warrior Project, who does the majority of all of our Ranger things. And we explain how you're part of the Ranger for Life network. You transition well, you come back. So now when you leave, it's not you're never coming back. It's like, oh, here's your next responsibility for Ranger Regiment. We really want you to transition well so that you can then be a mentor. So everybody's got a next mission.
Right.
Like, who doesn't sign up to be a mentor, gets transitions help, isn't really kind of fulfilling their duty. Because the Ranger Creed doesn't leave you. You get a DD-214. Your oath of enlistment doesn't leave you. There's not an expiration date. It doesn't say your oath of enlistment and what you promised to do ends. It's kind of how we look at it. That's how we still align purpose to what people do.
Yeah.
And so the med board time, when we're kind of coming up with this, and that's how it evolves, we'll go to a great church down here in Columbus called St. Luke. Never thought I would go to the church because it's a very formal, and then I've really gotten into the more evangelical churches. But Luke, we decided that he needed some private school for some social things that kind of had to do with dad never being around. Because if we weren't employed, we were at JRTC volunteering to go to JRTC to help them out. Or we're in Haiti, right? In that 28-month cycle, I think we were gone 16 months plus.
Yeah.
And that does include train up and everything.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It is what it is. But to go back, I'm at St. Luke Church, right? And there's a guy who used to run a military ministry, His name is Colonel Ralph Puckett. Now he's kind of known within.
Yeah, kind of known.
Yeah,
but,
just a little bit.
all right, yeah, he's kind of known. But he's older, and really what they were doing for the military ministry is back in the day when they would take their buses, they bring people to the church, and there would be like phone cards and video game consoles and a good meal, right? You can't do that now. You're not going to get buses from the Army to take anybody to a non-Army anything. So we tried busing and whatnot. I was like, okay, let me think about how we can do that. So it's SOCOM, we started kind of putting that together. Our senior pastor ended up providing us a building. It is the Ranger Outreach Center, a 3,000 square person building, all given through the, and by given, St. Luke Church still owns it. They just let me in here and run it with ministry partners and resources.
Nice.
And everything else. So we now see about 700 individual veterans a year. And if there was a turnstile here, our turnstile would have clicked 7,879 times.
Wow.
And the numbers matter because they represent people, right? And they represent return engagement. And people got to come into a church building if they want secular help too with their VA claim, right? Like, so they're higher purpose, higher calling, but it's all about, people need purpose, belonging in community. I can't. The culture has changed so much. I couldn't tell you how many guys come in who used to say, I don't want to have anything to do with the Army. I don't want to be part of the community. Mm-hmm. And now because of social media and everything else, guys are coming and saying, like, oh, I want to be able to give back because they see so many people giving back, right? Yeah. Not everybody, but like the culture shift has been fantastic. And I come on this podcast and talk about myself and tell jokes so that if anybody's hearing this at a different unit or organization, we partner with everybody. This does not take a lot of money. It takes time. It takes little bit of savvy, but it's all relationships. Like,
Tony, is it just Rangers though? Is it just Rangers, or are you open
yes. So with GallantFew, we do have a clinical counseling program that we can offer to other folks, but Ranger qualified and Fort Benning Rangers, I can see personally here all the time. I just don't have throughput for more than that.
Right, agree.
So I tell you what, if you tell me where you're at, if I know of somebody, our referral network, we have over 500 vetted. I don't really have to do anything. Like, I got a little bit of education, right? And because of relationships and continuity, we see people. But I'm not the end doer for any of these guys. I don't do a VA claim. I'm not a VSO. I just have relationships with people nationwide, depending on where people are at, whether they're post 9/11 or not. We can get help extremely quickly. So we generally don't turn anybody away for resource help. If somebody needs financial assistance, now it gets much different because that can get them right away, right?
Sure.
We really invest our money in operations, left of the boom into the active duty. And that's where a lot of money does go for operators, because the biggest gap, if you were doing like your little campaign plan and your line of operations, it's education, because the guys are going to change all the time. People don't know what they don't know. And our biggest key is honestly spouses, right? If somebody's married, their likelihood of being an NCO is higher. Not true always, but it's likely higher, right? So we focus on counseling programs where we educate the spouses. The spouses has to bring their husband. Then they get to do something for free or fun. No, they're not. They're getting educated and then rewarded for being a messenger.
Yeah.
Right. And I can do that legally, ethically, morally, without then getting the active duty units involved, staying away as far as I can from the JAGs, because we know enough of the rules not to ever get somebody in trouble. Right. And we ask for permission when we need to. We know the gifting policy, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's really the next frontier, Jerry, because GallantFew started helping out people who, we call it transition, but people who had a crap transition.
Yeah. I tell you, Tony, like I just transitioned.
So
and Chris is doing it right now, but like we do not, as the Army, do a very good job at it. Like I like what you're saying, because I think one, it's you're like super sincere about this, and you care
Oh yeah.
about it. You care about the guys. You care about the, I call them all war fighters
Oh, yes.
that are coming out of this, this service, dedication to service to our great country, and doing these things were really hard over the last couple of years, and to have an organization like what you have now that's going to take time to do that, is awesome. I wish all the posts had something like this,
Yeah.
because when I was at West Point and after West Point, the transition, I don't want to I don't want to get on a tyrant about beating up the Army, but like the counselors that were there for your taps and all that kind of guidance, they weren't sincere. They didn't really care about what you just felt it, right? So some of those young kids got out, and they're just out. They're just cut sling load. That's about what they have, and they don't know. Hey, there is a gallant few out there. There is this organization out there of people that are good human beings and really care about the warfare of these soldiers. So I really enjoy hearing what you're saying and your message. So I hope it gets out there to everybody, and hopefully the Army can figure out this transition piece. Because even as an E9 man, I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. Like,
It's a
it
couple
just,
ways to look at it, Jerry. Like, and it goes back to the
yeah,
definition of the oath of enlistment. I think is that one. I'm going to cut the military some slack, because if you spend 30 years at GM and that's all you know, there's not a transition program.
right.
Right. So I'm always looking at like, hey, is this a benefit? Is this a necessity? When the whole reason that there's like the transition fellowship that the DoD now DOW SkillBridge even exists has nothing to do on the surface with just that employment, job, and purpose. But yes, it does. It has to do with the suicide rate.
Right.
Congress tried to remember, one of the reasons TAP's not good is because they throw money at the problem.
Yeah.
Right. So they threw money at a problem, and this money was time off. Right. It was time off thinking that it would work. Guess what? It does. I have not, and if anybody out there hasn't, I have not. This is what's needed: a longitudinal study on the CSP program and reduction of suicide, because that's why it was really formed. Right. It was the best practice from SOCOM. Go back to Mike Hall. Go back to General Brown. General Brown, the guy who got me into Clemson. So I think, right, and Mike Hall, they had a discussion in 2002 when they're at JSOC in the JOC, saying like, tracking where guys are coming from is a hell of a problem. So then General Brown, goes to SOCOM as the chief of staff. That's when the SOCOM Care Coalition was started. They were the first organization to figure out, these guys are injured and they're not back in the fight. We better get them purposeful employment. That better be part of our mission set. Yeah. And that evolved to the WTUs, first in the Army, then the Marine Corps getting it. All things you all probably know, but just for the audience, right? Well, here's what I can tell you. Someone that I have counseled in transition, and I've counseled, about 3,000 people. I've got, to my knowledge, no suicides.
Right.
3,000 and 0 suicides is statistically significant.
Yeah.
I have had somebody who was supposed to talk to me who unfortunately did commit suicide. So not perfect, right? But when you look at that, part of like having organizations, or even if the Army did it better, right? However you want to look at it, like it's going to lead to community. It's going to lead to, so getting help with transition, you have to ask for help, right? And when I sit a Ranger down here, I start off, I got a couple of spiels depending on how they kind of present. But one of them is like, why are we so successful?
Right.
One person has gotten it right yet. And unfortunately, he was an officer. He's really good. 375 officer, by the way.
There you go.
But they're like, I don't know, because you know a lot of people. I said, 4-time volunteer, not RFS, secret security clearance, asking for help. That's why this program works.
Yeah.
That's the secret sauce. Making somebody have to go to TAP, which you kind of got to do, because yes, but like you just got to look at it like, how's this playing into the bigger picture? And
I had my first TAP class yesterday.
We're trying to, well, see, but TAP isn't trying to create TAP mentors. Ranger for Life is trying to create mentors.
Yes.
So whether you transition well or don't, if you don't, you're just as good of a mentor, right? Somebody wants to go to Chattanooga and you didn't transition well and you've got a story and you figured it out, you're just as good of a mentor. And when you talk to somebody, your service matters. Harvard Business School did a study on mentorship, and it was a very small sample size. It was like 300 lawyers, so law school graduates. And they've got a mentoring program at Harvard Law that's like kind of renowned. And when they figured out why it works, yes, there's that transformation that you would expect of leadership, time, all that kind of stuff. But the reason it works and it's maintained is because the mentor gets additional self-worth.
Yeah.
Because somebody's taking of their time, they're aspiring to something, to talk to somebody who walks. So you think it's the opposite reason. It's everything that the mentee gets out of it. No, it's everything that, and that's why the mentors continue to do it. So I tell my guys, I was like, listen, this is going to be super cool. Like, this isn't a formal program. The ranger you're going to talk to, the alumni, they know you're looking for a job. They know you're in transition. Like, you can cut to the chase. You can have a dip in, chew gum. You can have a dip in. You don't have to be, they know what you're trying to do. Talk to them. It is going to be the best part of the day. And several times when I talk to my guys, I'll be like, I got the best job in the world. I'm talking to an active duty ranger. I get to touch the magic every day, right? You know, you get to race with the dragon every single day because that's who you're working with, right? So can the TAP program get to that? I don't know. I don't think it's not possible. The difference is, in my community, if my guys don't end up with jobs, educational opportunities, get their VA done, I'll be mud right away.
Yeah.
I have not seen how the TAP counselors are evaluated. Remember, at the end of the day, you got to complete training. And then the VA does the statistics on employment education.
Yeah.
But the TAP counselor isn't responsible. And it would be hard to make somebody responsible for workforce development and pay them appropriately across the Army. But they've already taken care of that, haven't they?
Sure.
They've cut that out. And now it's mostly online. And then the CSP people, that's an online process with HRC now.
Hey, Tony, so how does Ranger Regiment manage the CSP? Because I know it's like, I don't know, what is it? Do you remember, Chris? It's like 6 months. I don't like.
I'll tell you. Hey, real quick. So
yeah.
If you're in the Care Coalition, you can get up to 6 months. Now it's 4 months waiverable to 6. But senior enlisted starting at staff sergeants, it's like reduced greatly. Like Lieutenant Colonel, I think might be 2 months, right? And then what had happened is some division and corps commanders have involuntarily reduced it too.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, like, it's not there's ways to fix it. Like, you just add it to the enlistment time, or you're making it an ad. So like none of this stuff is hard. The thing is, you don't see the study saying if it's working or not. I can tell you in the culture change in regiment, it definitely works. And you ask, how do we manage it? When I talk about why I love the Ranger Regiment and the evolution from what and it always matters when you personally experience, right? I've personally experienced getting out to do something else. I've experienced the med board and people trying to help me and giving me an opportunity, right? We lead the DOW in percentage of people who utilize SkillBridge. And we are a no-fail mission. We figured out the manning because people
that's my question. Yeah.
In position, right? And losing soldiers. Remember, this is a very close-knit unit, right? And I remember listening with the Crecilius podcast. I wasn't in the unit in 8 and 9. But when I see the suicide list from 08, the guys who served from 08 into 12, goodness gracious.
Right.
Goodness. So I don't care the VA. I don't care who's responsible. Right. But there's a way to do it. But back to Ranger Regiment, it's a thing. We are letting our officers do it. And let me tell you something that I see here now that this program's been going on for so long. Because this was 2014 is when we started developing it. I have guys getting out after a 4-year enlistment who can tell me that I was at Columbia University and a Ranger sergeant was at Columbia, and I decided instead of going into banking right away to serve in Ranger Regiment.
Yeah.
He's not neither one of them are a dirt bag for leaving. And that doesn't mean if you go to Columbia, you're this great person, because I don't believe in any of that crap either, right? I mean, I think the man upstairs is the ultimate judge of success in your life. But the regiment has been fantastic.
Yeah.
It's been it's transformational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now guys, when they come in and they hear it and they see it, they know that they have potential. They can truly do anything, right? It's almost like you can be the sergeant major of the Army, or you can be a captain of industry someday.
Yeah.
You know?
That really shows a lot to the listeners out there, man. Even the leaders that are out there that are going to listen to this, man. Like, if these packets, even the conventional Army, like if the Ranger Regiment can do it and give their time,
of a human being, and you'll be fine.
yeah. If the Ranger Regiment can lose, like, folks to go do this, I think conventional infantry battalion can, right? So,
without a
I don't
doubt.
know.
Guys who win Best Ranger, 4 years that you'd want to re-enlist, like you nobody's holding things against them, right? They figure out CQ and the manning. First of all, no offense, you can do more with a 6-man rifle squad that knows what the hell they're doing than a 9-man rifle squad. You just got to keep ready, by the way. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, USR slides. So if you got the right people, right, but Ranger Regiment's different too. Like, we have the ability that I can't say dead weight. If I said dead weight, that'd be wrong. So I can't say dead weight. We don't say dead weight. If we have the ability to get rid of some people,
Like dead weight.
I mean, I wouldn't call them that.
Extra
Oh, no, I'm not calling that.
baggage. He packed an extra baggage. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but so that does kind of make it different too. So like, theoretically, if our guys are getting out honorably, they might be getting out honorably with a Ranger tab and a couple of deployments. And you could say, bro, I've been in the crucible with you. This thing is going to work for you. It is best. You've kind of, and it doesn't make it better. It does make it different. I understand that, how it changes the variable, but it's also not my fault if the Army doesn't come up with a way to recruit better and doesn't come up with a way to get rid of dead weight quicker. That is not my problem.
Yeah.
What's my problem for a little while? It's not my problem anymore.
So
Sorry, Chris. Go ahead. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
no, you kind of talked on it a little bit there, right? With the size and the makeup of Ranger Regiment being different, we'll say, than we'll use the 173rd since it's right there. And it's, they're both brigades, right? So in theory, about the same ish.
Mm-hmm.
My question is it a scale problem for the military, for the big military, right? That at some point you lose the intimacy, for lack of a better term, of people that are coaching, teaching, mentoring, actually giving a crap. And I'm not going to talk about my own experience or anything like that, but it's because at some point it does become almost a corporate mechanism. It doesn't have to be unfeeling, unsensing, right? You can have people that do that, but the problem is that it becomes a statistic on a slide that this person, this 05, name shall not be mentioned, is retiring in 12 months and 18 days. He must go to TAP before he hits the 12-month mark. Block, check, right? He does his pre-brief. Now he has to go do this. Block, check, block, check, block, check. Vice, what the GallantFew is able to do is, same lieutenant colonels or 05, whatever, still has to go through that on the Army side. But with your organization, you're now able to take that 05 and say, hey, let me supplement what you're getting over here with something that actually matters.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's how, and I know we're not going to solve this right now because it's late at night and I don't have a cup of coffee. And if we're going to do that, I got to go get coffee. How does the Army solve that? How do we begin to get people that actually care? Because it's like you said, I love the piece about it's the alumni base that really gets the other people to continue to go through, right? Using Ohio State, Florida State. It's the reason I went to Florida State is my dad was a Florida State Seminole fan. The reason my wife went to Florida State was because both her parents went to Florida State and her grandmother went to Florida State. Right? What are your questions? It's the same with the military. Most, and I don't know the statistics anymore, but most of the military is made up of people that come from military backgrounds, that have family that served in the military. So why wouldn't we want to continue to try to take care of ourselves? And it's just absolutely frustrating for me.
It is. So a couple of things. I really believe in some type of government public partnership. Like it's not that hard. It doesn't take that many people. I mean, what we do takes some motivated, passionate people, but pretty much 4 to 5 people with everybody else volunteering their time creates this for a 4,000 person organization that is geographically located on both coasts.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to know, come and let us tell you. Right. Okay. All the alumni associations have probably enough people doing things that if they want to take this on, and just like the 82nd All American Association, is it the All American Association? Yeah. The official name. Yeah. If they wanted to take it on, give me a phone call. Not that hard, right? Kid figures out how to go to Dunkin' Donuts off post, or if they've got an office somewhere or whatever, they figure it out. A church. Do you know churches want people to come in their space? They'd love to get military people. You just got to think outside of the box. I really think it goes back to one, it's not the Army's. I really don't think it's the military's problem to solve. I think once again, I think Crown Plus what we have. Can we do things better? Yes, and we want to iterate on better. So if we are spending millions, then we should. But I would love to see the alumni come together and figure this out. Like,
no, I agree.
Great.
I'm gonna nitpick because I'm at that point in the day right now. So I apologize. I think it is the military's fault, and I think it is the alumni's fault. I think they share equal burden, because you cannot have one without the other. You don't have an alumni base if you don't have a military to start with, right? And so it has to be a symbiotic relationship between the two. Okay. And so otherwise you're giving the military a pass. And, I guess I should put out a caveat there. This is Chris Rowe saying this. This is not me in my uniform saying this, but you're giving me as a service member a pass when I should be held accountable. Okay. Just like the alumni, because I received all of these great things from all of the time that I got to serve. Now I should be not forced, but I should at least try to give back. It's the same with the military side. For me personally, to say that you can't, you have to hold the military accountable, because it just does.
You have to do it if they're going to say that's part of their mission set. Yes. And then you should iterate, and you should get better. Just have to be clear with the limitations, right?
Sure.
And I mean, if I said there was a piece of kit to make warfighters safer and the military fails because they don't get it, like, could we do that with every single piece of equipment right now because technological advancements? Yes. So then what becomes in the realm of the possible?
Yep.
Who are we working with? We do have unmotivated people in the military too. Yep. So what I look at now, not to kind of change it, when I look at TAPSO, what you get is training for employment.
Mm-hmm.
A motivated person could find employment. Where we spend a lot of our time, and here's one for you. Are you ready, Chris? Here you go, right?
Send it.
So you're in for counseling with me. Chris, let me tell you, your first job, it actually kind of humors me. You've got a security clearance. You're a lieutenant colonel's promotable, right?
Yep.
You've done all
Sounds so good.
I know, right?
You have a master's degree, right? Not above that, but a master's two. Ooh, I'm sorry. Show off.
Well, all right. Okay, sorry. It should just be one because it's both from the Army.
And you're a SANS graduate.
And right, you get selected for positions of advanced responsibility constantly, and you're a hard worker. America has a workforce problem. It doesn't have an employment problem. Look at people who've done what you've done and look at what they've done in the civilian world.
Yep.
So your first job just humors me. You just got to get started.
Yep.
And then I tell you, I've got 2 baseball pictures back there. I love baseball. And what our highly motivated people do is they try to hit a leadoff grand slam. Do you know baseball, Chris?
Very much.
Hit a leadoff grand slam. You can hit a leadoff home run, but you're going to come up to bat. So now, Chris, my question is, what are the first 3 jobs after you get out of the Army? One person has been able to answer that, and I have to give him a shout out, not by name. I can't remember everybody, but his wife was an engineer at Lockheed Martin. He was also an engineer, and he wanted those same 3 jobs when they moved back to Dallas, Texas. And he said that. Now, the other funny part is he's not doing that. So if that's what a career is and we can't predict it, what are all these other things that we can do, right? And then we'd go over VA benefits, VA disability, Chapter 35, Chapter 31, Chapter 33. And I will show how you could have almost the same income and do whatever you want to do, not what you think you aspire to. So then I build that safety net to say, as long as you're willing to work in America, this is a fun one for me. If you work at the Savannah Walmart, after 90 days, you're going to get full benefits if you're working full time. If you work 60 hours, which I'm not saying people want to do, but that's a 12-hour day, 60 hours. You make the equivalent of an E7. America has a work problem. And then we worry about being perfect. And if once you get in the workforce, you've probably heard this from your friends, and this is why I talk about the Rangers with you. Once you get in the workforce and you're good, other people want you and they know about it.
Yeah.
So what we say is the most important thing: location, job, and money. I ask people, what's the most important? What is proven scientifically in the real world to be the most important for somebody having a successful transition? Successful meaning they're happy at what they're doing, they're happy in their family life, and they're satisfied with their transition. Which of those 3 do you think is most important?
For me, it's all about location.
Jerry?
Well, for me, like, I can just tell you what I kind of chased the money when I got out. I kind of,
That's fine.
and location came with what I had. So I didn't have, Tony, I didn't have to look for jobs a lot. So I don't have a lot of experience in that. I kind of
Well, you guys are both older, right? And I use this
Yeah.
with got mostly a younger audience, but we still have senior people. But you guys, it's location, statistically proven, right? Because once you choose your location, especially if you're using help in your transition, you choose location, you already know what your market is, right? If you want to chase money and you live in Wheeling, West Virginia, God bless Wheeling, West Virginia, but you probably means you're going to, with your users, you're going to have to travel.
Yeah.
Right now, are you willing to do that? No, I'm not willing to do that. I want to live in Wheeling. Okay, well then what's the scale of economy then? What provides you, and that becomes the starting part. If you chase money, the question is, which is fine, right? If you're young and you chase money, why I would still argue that's location. You're willing to go to whatever location.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then but you look at family kind of within that. And that's kind of like how we gauge and build it, because then I can learn a lot about somebody's purpose, their background, and what they're, I always ask, and if your wife was here, what would she say? And whenever there's disagreement there, I was like, okay, I got to make sure she's here on the next session.
Well, yeah.
With spouses too.
I agree with that, Tony, too, because for my decision, I had the money, but I also had the location tied together. So it came twice. For me.
Time
Yeah,
out.
we
Time out.
Tampa Bay.
I want to get this on record for all the
Home run, man.
listeners.
You hit a home run, Jerry.
I want to get this for all the listeners. It's me 1, Jerry 0. You said location.
That is true. That is true.
So I win.
Fair.
You know what? Yeah, whatever. It was also my wife's decision, man, because I could have went to Iowa, and she's like,
it is all my wife's decision. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Christine don't mess around, bro. Yeah, no. Tony, is GallantFew? What's the difference between GallantFew and 3 Rangers?
3 Rangers' primary mission is transition. They also have a Gold Star program, and so within transition, looking at finance, have other programs, have some like niches, specialties off of that. But it's the primary role of 3 Rangers Foundation is transition. Primary role of GallantFew is support to the Ranger Force, focusing limited resources, right? Always a cash. a nonprofit cash constrained environment for Rangers at Fort Benning, both ARTB and the Ranger Regiment. So within that, we evolve, and I'm a left of the boom guy. If I find a nonprofit that can take care of something for veterans, then it's a referral. But this education piece and getting it into spouses and ensuring that we have successful families and being able to track that is not the easiest thing to do. But we GallantFew started because people didn't transition well. Started doing transition. 3 Rangers is kind of taking the flag. They do it primarily. We assist, kind of symbiotic, right? Nonprofit sharing money, doing the right thing. We partner with anybody who are good people. So now transition's taken care of. Well, what do we do in the Army? We get better. So it's left of the boom things. So now it's how can we talk to the guys, the alumni network? What services can we provide that allows them to live their best lives when they're in? So if they get out, they know they got a great transition program, and they look back and say that was a formative time. This is the college model. This is the college. Like you go to some universities that, no offense, look where they're ranked. They might not be ranked high, but they got a great gym. If a college is telling you the reason you got to go there is the gym and the dining facility, like be wary. Like
Yeah.
it could be academic. Theoretically, you're there to get a job. But anywho, like you see that kind of stuff all the time. So anyway, we want to make sure that people have a really great experience in a unit that already kind of had, and we've built the network. So the network is this thing. We started with 89 people, I think, the first year. The first year I saw Sergeant Major Hall's list, we're at 1,700 vetted people after really doing this full bore for about 5 to 6 years. Right?
Yeah.
Every year it's growing 200-300 people. Right?
How many do you have on your staff, Tony? You got pretty big, like underneath you. It's pretty
staff. So my GallantFew staff, considering with 1099s, is a total of about 12 for GallantFew. Wow. Because we do have a coaching and we do have a clinical counseling side. That's where most of the folks reside because that's just time intensive, right? It's honestly way more time intensive. The way we do transition is we get people plugged into other people's programs, and guys go do great things. I was trying to track down the results of one of our guys, and it didn't contact us because he wouldn't give us anything but a SOCOM email. Track him down, got him connections to Ivy Leagues, and he was like, at that time, this was years ago, he's 1 year into a dual Juris Doctorate MBA program at Harvard. Like, oh yeah, thanks. That's great. I met the admissions people, and then was able to do an in-person interview. Got briefed up by this, and I'm like, that's a good testimonial. You know, we got to have to raise a little bit of money here.
Yeah.
But so that's GallantFew 3 Rangers foundation is much more leaner because they only do transition, and then because of the network, they have some people who are at a stage in life where they can pretty much, I wouldn't say work for free. But they got a lot more time to give. But Sergeant Major Mike Hall runs that organization. Now, like I said, there are organizations like us all over. You just got to find them.
Sure.
People complain. They say there are 50,000 veteran nonprofits or whatever the number is. And people complain. And I'm like, no, the best are local solutions. I really think we're successful because we don't help everybody.
Right.
If we try to help everybody, we'd spread ourselves too thin, all those type of things. And so there are local organizations. In Columbus, Georgia, we have 4 or 5 other transition organizations. Right? We got the DAV you can walk into and do your VA claim. We prefer our people with Wounded Warrior Project. But just the point being, when we talk about, Chris, like especially where there's a military base, that public-private partnership, I mean, the lawyers don't know how to do this. Right. Like they don't know how to say yes to good ideas because these are brought up by the nonprofits all the time, right? And then the lawyers, I mean, the leaders, like they got to make time for it. You got to have the right person doing the right thing. And so you are right. I think this is all possible. 50,000. And the I probably shouldn't say this, but I'll do it anyway. Dirty secret of nonprofits. It is very much like the military. I do have to keep a reserve to keep the lights on, right?
Yeah.
But after that number, right, and preparing for growth, like nonprofit business, that I want to ensure that this thing goes on. But like, if I raise more money, it gets reported in a 990 form that's on my website.
Yeah.
And you can see how much I make. You can see how much we pay staff. You can see how much that goes to programs. Like the nonprofit world becomes a pretty good. I said, well, if you don't pay for it, it's not worth it as much. It all depends on who the people running it and how it works, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, 50,000 veteran support. You can't find a military post that doesn't have about 3 to 4 organizations that do VA claims just outside.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not, doesn't mean they're all good, right? But that's just that. And then same thing with employment. The hardest part is leaving an installation and finding employment where you want to go away, right? Like
Sure.
that truly is. But if we take care of all the basics, we get people who may not know about money educated on money, right? And remember, you can lead a horse to water too. You're always going to have a delta of failure. Just going to be the nature of the beast. We've had deltas of failure as leaders, right? And we thought we did everything.
Tony, is it for a time frame for you guys to help young Rangers out? Is it just when they're transitioning, or
this is
come out?
So our active programs now, we focus on spouses, date nights. I got suites at the baseball stadium just to be able to meet people, to start telling them about life skills.
Right.
I could go to like 1 million of them. One of the fun ones for me is life insurance. If I was in charge of the world, I would you talk about getting that direct deposit into your TSP and making sure it's in the right fund and all that kind of stuff. I would make everybody get a term life insurance. Now that's not for everybody, and I know why, different people, but like I just would. You'd be 18 or 19, you get a $2 million policy for $61 a month from almost any company while you're still in good health, right? Definitely before they know you're going to airborne school. But you get that right away, and you never worry about it for the entire life. Our goal is that folks, we don't want you to be tied down into a job because of benefits, because of decisions you could have made, right? It goes back to you've got to be a grown-up earlier. We know that most of our people do not get this from the parents. The thing that's crazy for me, and it shouldn't be, because I had a great dad, but I didn't know a lot about money when I graduated from Ohio State. I mentioned that I was in debt, and I learned from somebody who did something different. But you'd be shocked how many people from good backgrounds also know jack about money. They might have enough to be comfortable, and they might have got started. But I mean, just knowing how the world works, people will say that a house is an investment. And I show them how 1 year's of mortgage, what the bank actually makes on that in 30 years, you only make the worst decision. You make the best decision you can with a house. Mm-hmm. You never make the money. Now, if you're like, oh, I'm going to split it off in property, well, that's real estate. That's different. But like your home, you make the worst decision. Your most expensive thing you'll ever buy is your spouse, right? Because that can cost you a whole lot more if it goes wrong.
Yeah.
It costs you plenty if you do it right. And then it's your house, and then it's your cars, right? Yeah. And I bought my first truck that I knew when I was 48, because eventually I'm going to die and I wanted to enjoy a new truck. But still, part of me, I'm driving it. It's like, you know what? If I would have just got a smaller SUV and saved $20,000, that's really using the rule of 72. By the time I'm 60, this is a $240,000 decision. That's how my mind thinks, because somebody taught me about money, and I can do that sliding rule, right? But now, because I listened, I have enough money, and even when I do something like that, like, yeah, but I can afford it.
Yeah.
Right. And we should all think like that. All heads of families, right? Sometimes I'm a knuckle dragger. All heads of families should think like that. Right? People are like, oh, I can't afford private school. Maybe, but did you choose a school for the district? And did you look at what you pay extra in taxes, which you could have invested? It's like, because I was told it was an investment and I needed it for the school district. Maybe that's the safest place. Maybe you love those schools. So that's a good decision, period. But people aren't running the spreadsheets, right? And so we do a little exercise where I show them, like I said, I take my house, what it costs. I take what I paid the first 12 months, rule of 72, just S&P 500, 10% rate of return, and what the bank will make out of my first year of my mortgage. And of course, they're going to put in the credit cards at 22%, not a 10% rate of return. It's $100,000 more than I paid for my house. And I said, and I've got to pay that for 29 more years. So what the bank makes at 10% on the house that I bought is $8.4 million. Nobody here, unless they like buy on the Fort Knox we don't know doesn't exist somewhere, and they excavate it, is going to make whatever hundreds of thousand times return on their house.
Yeah.
So you want to be happy. You've worked hard. You deserve it. And if that brings you happiness, but you still got to know how much it costs.
Yeah.
I could do that. I could do this all day. It
When
was
I got
a lesson to
when
be.
I got out, Tony, like I was been so spoiled for 30 years, man. Like, living in base housing and having BAH and all
And
that
it's paycheck
stuff.
to paycheck, right?
But
It's
now, like,
paycheck
I
to
think
paycheck.
I think when you get out too, you got to understand now, like, man, I pay for this cost, I pay for electricity, I have to pay for the maintenance, I got to pay for all these other costs that you didn't have to pay while you were in the military, right? Like,
USAA and other folks, they got the calculators. And
yeah,
this is where like I had been helping and volunteering transition before I was doing it full time. So USA has this great calculator. So I put in like Tampa, right? And we know Tampa costs money every time you drive. Like
yeah,
if you're not using the tolls, then you don't have a life because it's
yeah.
going to take forever to get everywhere. And so I think, and I like to use my numbers because it is what it is. So I think as a captain with BAH and Tampa, I think they said that my total military benefit was 130 major 138,000 with and I'm on OE for 04E, whatever it is, all that stuff, right? So 138,000, right? So I plugged that in for Columbus, Georgia, for what I would need to live now that the military stuff wasn't there. How much less do you think it was? It's a trick question. It was $1,000 more.
Wow.
Right. And once again, like this is years ago when I'm volunteering and helping, but it got really real, right? Because I knew all the programs. So I was able to help people like, oh, I know you go through TAP, but here's this one that will service to schools, which will help you pick your college. Here are these other things. But once you go through it, just like when I went through the med board, it got really, really real. And it made me, obviously I think a better counselor for sure.
Yeah. Tony, you got your website, right? And you guys got the communication down at Benny. Like, what ways can anybody reach out to you if they're watching this?
We've got a lot of ways, but like I get a lot of traffic, right? And it's a good thing. Like you want to be able to help people. Please send me an email if anybody wants. Tony at GallantFew.com is the easiest way. If you happen to get my phone number, I will not answer it. I stay pretty busy, and I will generally read voicemails and then text because I can control the communication. Because in retirement, right, my phone goes off at 6 o'clock. Like I don't handle anything. If it's life limit eyesight, people who need to know will contact my wife. I will not. I generally don't touch it. It's freedom that I do. I am trying to get my life back from my BlackBerry days.
Yeah.
My family deserves that.
Yeah.
But I get up at 4:30. I look at my phone, and then I'll get back to you. So send me an email. And if anybody wants to coordinate, if there's somebody who's leading, or just have the loyalty to their unit, and thinks that this is something that they might want to bring, like the goal. The creation of the Rangers is to do something kind of well, given extra things to do things well, which we've been given, and then share it. So I'm happy to share. 173rd, goodness gracious. Like this is just waiting to happen if somebody wants to do it. There's enough people.
Dude, I was actually thinking that, Tony. I was like, man, somebody needs to do this for those guys. Because that's such a tight organization of alumni.
Oh, yeah. That's like the Army within the Army. Right? That's the coolness of going overseas, too. Right? Like, that's the uniqueness of, like, you're the only flagpole in town. And in 173rd, there's different places where you're the only flagpole in town, which makes it pretty neat, too.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. Is it the same contact? They got to reach for you to go to 3 Rangers? Or is that a different?
Yeah.
POC?
Yeah. I actually synced all the emails, so it comes to GallantFew anyway. Like, I will tell you, when you don't care who gets the credit, right? Like Sergeant Major Hall, I told him, like, I'm having a hard time managing 2 emails. I know you think it sounds easy, but like we got a high volume. Like it just, I was like, hey, I can't handle it. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So go to, I put out, I think I probably shouldn't, but even on my personal going to my work, just because it's easy. Like, I don't know people who manage 3 or 4. I was spending too much time doing it because I'm about a 400 to 500 email guy a day. Granted, half of them are crap, but I mean, that's just a lot of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's crazy. Ask Jerry how many email accounts he has.
I'm not bringing that up on here. Don't
A
try to
lot.
dime me out.
A
Don't try
lot.
to dime me out.
Yeah,
I
as
have
long as none of them
everything
are burner accounts, you're good.
for our account. Yeah. All right, Tony, we get ready to close this out because I know you got to get up early. But I'll tell you, man, like there's this perception in Ranger Regiment, like from the conventional side, because you guys can RFS people. They're like, oh, Rangers don't know how to do admin, and they can just get rid of people, all this kind of stuff. But I tell you, that organization is just squared away. They have
Yeah.
an organization like you. They have 3 Rangers. I
We
tell you,
just had 23 Ranger Regiment and Ranger school support organizations in the Ranger Outreach Center during Ranger Rendezvous to ensure that we were sharing and, when possible, not repeating duplicated tasks so that we can be excellent in what we do. How amazing is that? But it's relationships and people, right? Yes, now it seems like it's a system. Oh, but it's the people. And I know that I know the 82nd has enough people in its lineage to pull this off at scale should they want to. I just know it's there.
Right? I just want to give a shout out because I sat on a promotion board. I sat on a promotion board a couple times. So when people talk about Ranger Regiment's admin, I would tell you right now, when I looked at NCOERs from the Ranger Regiment, they were the best in the Army. So I'm just going to say that because that's how much, like when you say attention to detail and caring for each other, when you see that and when the board members look at each other and say, hey, this organization really takes care of its people, and you can see it in how they take time to manage NCOERs and leaders, or you can tell leaders are looking at it and making sure that these Rangers excel in their career. And you can see it across the rest of the Army. He was terrible, and you can see when a leader looks at something. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Ranger Regiment for that, because I think you get this perception, hey, they're the best rate. They do some on the battlefield. They're the best. They are, but they also know how to take care of their people, and that's true. It's amazing to me to see how that works and how it functions, how the NCOs are, and it's amazing. I've always been in awe with those guys, and give a shout out to anybody that's in that organization that's watching that, and keep killing it because you guys are doing great. So, so Chris, I'll just I'll say a couple words to close this out. Turn it over to you, Chris, and then we'll just let Tony kind of close it. Is that cool? So, so guys, hey, it's been an amazing. I think we had a great talk on transition. I think it's important that we hear this. There's a lot of cool opportunities that Tony does. Tony's always been someone that cares about. He's not really cares about himself. He cares about others, and he has always done that ever since I've known him. And I'm not trying to be blow smoke up him, but he's just a great guy. And then it's an honor for me to sit on here and have 2 incredible officers that are both deaf and prior enlisted. So an honor to serve with those guys, which is amazing. So Tony, thank you so much for coming on here, and it's been awesome and to talk to you for a couple hours and see you again, and I wish you the best. And I saw you try to give a go at hockey a while back, and I was paying attention to that. But thank you so much for getting on here and just being a mentor, being a good human being, and dedicating your life. You and your family dedicating your life to just Rangers and Warriors to make sure that they do well outside the Army. So thank you so much, and we appreciate it. And it's been a great time, and I hope I can keep talking to you again. So thank you. Chris, you got it? Turn it over to you, buddy.
All right, thanks. Hey, a couple quick admin notes real quick before I blow smoke up Tony's skirt, as Jerry likes to say. First, he said his email address is tony@gallantfew.org. Again, that's tony@gallantfew.org if you need to reach out to him. You're looking for support, something like that. So please shoot him a note. The second one, if you've made it this far in the podcast, first and foremost, thank you. Second, hit that subscribe button, please. Y'all are viewing a lot of our stuff. We need the subscribes. Please hit subscribe. And as Tony mentioned at the beginning, leave us a comment. Jerry loves to read your comments. Okay. He absolutely pours over every single one.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm all over that.
And he's doing it. Okay. Admin stuff out of the way. Tony, I have learned a lot today. And I really, really appreciate that. I knew going into this that I was probably going to learn some stuff from you. Jerry has spoken highly of you for a long time, and I understand why. How you've taken your experiences and translated that now into what I describe as a mission, a life mission, to help give back. To me, there is no greater cause than to be able to help others, and you're doing that, and you're doing it well. And I commend you for that, and I thank you for sharing your story, man. You're a great storyteller, and I hope that someday when Jerry and I get down to Fort Benning, we're able to link up with you. So thanks for coming on the show. Turn it over to you.
Well, yeah, anytime, boys. What you do, allowing people to tell their story, regardless of who watches, is great for the person doing it. So you are already doing your service. Absolutely love it. And so, not to belabor the point at 2 hours and 50 minutes, I'll just leave you with my favorite Bible verse. It comes from Romans 5, 3 through 4. And to paraphrase, if you allow me that, suffering produces perseverance, perseverance produces character, and character hope. So the ability to grow, get better, get stronger is the first to go through a crucible. It can be a small challenge. It could be a big one. It could be a decision to do something a little bit different. And that's where hope ends up in. So just for anybody watching, any veteran there, I'd love, you can go ahead and email me at tony@GallantFew.org with your favorite Bible verse, and we can connect and converse that way as well. So thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you. Boots and shoots.
Yeah. Boots and shoots out. And remember, subscribe, like, and share on all socials. Thank you guys so much. Couldn't do it without you. Take care.
Comments so Jerry can read them.
Yep.